A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, Easy Aces.
The Ace's lawyer, Mr. Kelly, thinks he has the solution to the $10,000 lawsuit brought against them by Mr. Neff. With a trick question he's going to ask Jane on the stand, he expects to win the case when Mr. Neff's young lawyer will object to the question. This episode takes place in two scenes, an anteroom adjoining the courtroom, and then the courtroom itself. But first to the anteroom, where we find Jane and Mr. Ace. Jane still memorizing the questions and answers Mr. Kelly expects to ask her. Listen.
How long have you known Mr. Neff? About 2 months. Tell the court how you came to meet Mr. Neff. I didn't come to meet Mr. Neff. He came to meet me. He came to my house one day and said he would give me $500 if I would sell his lot to Mr. Everett. Did he come to your home on your invitation? No, I didn't even know he was thinking of coming. He just came in. Did Mr. Neff ever make love to you? Well... Dear, do I do that all right?
What?
Do I say that like Mr. Kelly told me to, that well?
Well, what?
Well, nothing.
What are you talking about?
I'm studying my part. When Mr. Kelly says to me, did Mr. Neff ever make love to you? I have to say, well. How does that sound?
Oh, the whole thing sounds impossible to me. A fine lawyer. That's what he thinks of. Did Mr. Neff ever make love to you? What's that got to do with a real estate deal?
I don't know. Now, don't ask me any more questions than I've got to learn. These are hard enough.
And where is he? Court's going to be called any minute, and he's not even here yet. What does he do? Where does he go?
Dear, I told you I've got enough questions to learn. Now, don't start asking me any more.
All right, go ahead and learn them. And you better know them. You're going to be called first today.
First?
Yes, this is Kelly's big point. He wants to make sure to get it in as soon as possible. But where is he? I want to make sure he's still going through with this newest brainstorm of his. Changes his mind so often, he might have thought of something else.
Well, you better not think of any more things to ask me. These are hard enough, especially this new question.
Oh, what's hard about that? All you have to answer is, well.
Yes, but that's not the way to say it. The hard part is saying... Well...
Oh, that's awfully hard, isn't it?
Well, good morning, good morning. I thought I'd find you here.
Well, where else would we be?
I feel fine this morning. I think this case is going to be a cinch. Want to get it settled before court ends today. And how are you this fine morning, Mrs. Ace?
Please, Mr. Kelly, don't ask me any more questions than I've got.
What?
No, she's busy memorizing her testimony. Now, look, Mr. Kelly, are you still thinking of putting in that silly question about Mr. Neff making love to her?
Silly question? The key question to the whole case, and you call it silly? The one question we expect to win the case with, and you...
Oh, I wish I were as sure as you are.
Well, aren't you sure?
No.
But I tell you, I've got enough of an old man that squabble with a certain woman that'll make him give up the whole lawsuit. Rather than take a chance to make public what I know, all I have to do is to say to Mrs. Ace, did Mr. Neff ever make love to you?
Well...
That's right, Mrs. Ace. And Neff's lawyer, Johnson, is bound to jump up and object. The court will sustain his objection, the question will be stricken from the records, and I'll apologize. But when I'm through apologizing, I will have instilled in Mr. Neff's mind that we know enough about him and this woman to give him front-page notoriety for money. He won't dare take the chance. He'd be sending Johnson around to talk settlement. We'll have him in the palm of our hand.
Oh, it sounds good on paper, but
There's no but about it. It's a cinch. I tell you, I've been a lawyer for years. I always try to find the unusual angle. 9 out of 10 times, it's the woman angle. Cheshire FM, Mr. Ace, Cheshire FM.
Cheshire FM in a real estate deal? I never heard of such a...
please, dear, I'm trying to study. You you said I'm going to be first.
Yes. I know we better let her look over those questions and answers. Maybe we better step into the next room. We can talk there.
Yes, I think you better. I can't
Okay,
study.
let's go. Now, you wait here till court opens, Jane, and don't go in without us. We'll be back the minute it starts.
I'll wait for you, dear.
Now, Miss Grace, let me show you.
How long have you known Mr. Neff? About 2 months. Tell the court how you came to meet Mr. Neff. I didn't come to meet Mr. Neff.
There's somebody in here, Sugar.
Oh, it's Mrs. Ace, honey.
Oh, hello.
Oh, good morning, Mrs. Ace. We didn't know you were here. We'll find another room.
Oh, let's visit with Mrs. Ace, honey.
Well, I'm trying to study.
it doesn't look right to have the plaintiff's attorney in conversation with the defendant.
Oh, honey, how can you talk like that after how nice Mrs. Ace was to us? Doesn't he look handsome in the coat and trousers, Mrs. Ace?
Uh-huh.
He looked marvelous yesterday.
But today's the big day. Yesterday was more or less getting ready for the trial itself.
Well, you look just as good today, honey. Even better. I made him buy that white carnation. Doesn't it make him look wonderful?
Uh-huh.
Sure does set this outfit off.
Does it fit all right?
Oh, perfect. I'll never forget you for lending me Mr. Ace's coat and
Oh,
trousers.
now, not so loud. They're in that room there, and he might hear you.
Well, he kept looking at me yesterday, sort of like he recognized the clothes. Did he say anything to you about it?
No, he kept saying he thought he saw you somewhere
He
before.
saw the coat and trousers before. That's what he means.
But he saw me for a minute there that night.
Oh, he doesn't remember that. He just remembers the coat
Well, I
and the
think we ought to
trousers.
go, Sugar. This is most irregular, you know. Besides, Mrs. Ace may want to consult with a lawyer.
Oh, no, I just have to study these questions and answers.
Questions and answers about what?
What they're going to ask me. Mr. Kelly, I mean. I know him pretty good. Oh, Mr. Johnson, would you do me a favor and hold the paper and see if I know him?
Oh, no, Mrs. Ace, I don't think that's...
Well, it'll only take a few minutes. It's hard for me to ask the questions and tell the answers, too.
Sure he will. Oh, honey, after Mrs. Ace was so kind to him.
Yes. Now, here, you hold this and read the question, and then I'll see if I know the answer. It starts right there. Now, go ahead.
Well, how long have you known Mr. Neff?
About 2 months. Go ahead.
Tell the court how you came to meet Mr. Neff.
I didn't come to meet Mr. Neff. He came to meet me. He came to my house one day and said he would give me $500 if I would sell his lot to Mr. Everett. Go ahead.
Did he come to your home on your invitation?
No, I didn't even know he was thinking of coming. He just came in.
Did Mr. Neff ever make love to you? Did Mr. Neff ever make love to you? Did Mr.
Oh,
Neff...
wait, I heard you.
What's this about Mr. Neff making love to you?
Why, Mrs. Ace.
Oh, that's just a question.
Why, Mrs. Ace.
Well, what's the matter? It's only a question.
And what's this answer?
Well,
What?
that's all, just well. That's as far as I can get, Mr. Kelly said.
As far as you can get.
Yes, I won't have time to say any more because you jump up and object, and then Mr. Kelly apologizes, but he lets Mr. Neff know that we know about some woman.
Some woman?
Yes, Mr. Kelly found out all about it, and he says that when you object...
I get it. Come on, Sugar. Here's your paper, Mrs. Ace.
But, honey, Mrs. Ace...
Hurry up. Come on. I've got an appointment with Mr. Neff before court opens.
Don't leave, honey. Goodbye, Mrs. Ace.
Goodbye. I'll see you in the courtroom, I guess.
I'll see you, too. I like your hat.
You do? It's a new one. How long have you known Mr. Neff? About 2 months. Tell the court...
Hey, come on. Court's open.
Yeah, now, Mrs. Ace, just take it easy and leave everything to me. Now, put those papers away. You want to know it all about now. Your Honor, I want to call to the stand Mrs. Jane Ace.
Will the clerk call Mrs. Ace to the stand?
Mrs. Jane Ace, take the stand, please.
All right.
You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you?
Beg pardon?
Raise your right hand and say, I do.
Oh, I do.
Be seated, please.
Now, what is your name, please?
About 2 months.
What's that?
What?
Please, Your Honor. My witness is a little nervous. It's being the first time in the courtroom.
I wish you would confine yourself to answering the questions you put to her.
She will, Your Honor. I asked you what your name was.
Oh, Jane Ace.
Now, Mrs. Ace, tell the court how long you've known Mr. Neff.
I didn't come to meet Mr. Neff. He came to meet me.
What's going on here?
I beg Your Honor's pardon.
Mrs. Ace, did you hear the question?
Yes, but he isn't asking them right.
What's that?
He's got part of the first one and part of the second one trying to make sense
Begging Your Honor's pardon, I think my witness is still a little nervous. I follow.
We should get started right.
Mrs. Ace, How long have you known Mr. Neff?
Well, now, that's better. About 2 months.
Mrs. Ace, would you mind answering the questions and nothing more?
Beg pardon?
Yes, she will, Your Honor. Mrs. Ace, tell the court how you came to meet Mr. Neff.
I didn't come to meet Mr. Neff. He came to meet me. He came to the house and said he would give me $500.
Now, Mrs. Ace, did he come
if I
on
would
your...
sell his lot to Mr. Everett. I had some left over.
Proceed, please.
Did he come on your invitation?
No, I didn't even know he was thinking of coming. He just came in.
Did Mr. Neff ever make love to you?
Well...
Mrs. Ace, did Mr. Neff ever make love to you?
Well...
Well, what? Come, Mrs. Ace. Well, what?
That's all, Judge. Just, well...
What's going on here?
Your Honor, you see,
Will the attorney for the defendant please go on with the question?
Yes, I will. Did Mr. Neff ever make love to you?
Well...
I will clear this courtroom if there's another sound of disturbance. Mrs. Ace, are you going to answer the question or not?
I did.
You did what? You started 2-3 times. Now answer it. Will the clerk read the question again?
Did Mr. Neff ever make love to you?
Answer it, Mrs. Ace.
Well...
Well, go on. I shall hold you in contempt of court if you don't answer the question.
But, Your Honor, you see,
Will you answer the question, Mrs. Ace?
I did.
Fine, $50.
Where?
What's that?
I beg the court to call a recess.
I object to a recess, Your Honor. I want the witness to go on answering the questions. I object.
At last. It's about time you said that.
Well, Jane got that well-laid plan all balled up. We'll learn more about it when next we meet the Easy Aces.
Countdown for blast off. X minus 5, 4, 3, 2, X minus 1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in 1,000,000 could-be years on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X minus 1.
Tonight, the time is June 25th, 1962. The place, a lonely beach. The story, Saucer of Loneliness by Theodore Sturgeon. My name is Jason Beniades. I'm a newspaper reporter, 31 years old. I write poetry, but I don't show it to anybody because they might laugh. And the things I write about are very important to me. I was an only child. I never went with girls much because I'm too ugly and too sensitive. And they used to hurt me. I live alone. It isn't much fun. I'm not painting this picture of myself to get sympathy. I don't need it. But it's important that you should know the kind of person I am. Otherwise, you won't understand what I'm going to tell you. It happened tonight, the thing I'm going to tell you about. Tonight. The 25th of June, 1962. I was down on the beach. What is it, kid?
You seen a cop around any place?
On this beach?
I found his pile of clothes down near the rocks. The lady's dressing in shoes.
Well, did you see anybody? A girl?
Well, I think so, but she was running along the sand in the moonlight. I yelled to her, but she just kept running, and then I found these.
Look, kid, you go try to find a cop someplace. I'll see if I can find the girl.
Okay.
I thought to myself, she's dead. I'll never find her now in this white flood of moonlight with the surf seething in over the pale sand. I ran and ran until my knees buckled and went down in the swirl of it. The sea on my lips, with the taste of tears, and the whole white night shouted and wept. And then I saw her, waist deep, walking into the surf. Stop. Stop it. Come back. Come on, come out.
Let go. Let me go.
Don't do it. Please don't.
Leave me alone. Leave me alone.
I'm going to have to hit you. Forgive me. I hit her in the neck with the edge of my hand, and she slumped. I brought her ashore and carried her to where a dune was between us and the water. Then I rubbed her wrists. She had a pale, beautiful face with ancient, bottomless blue eyes. She opened them and looked at me after a moment. It's all right. Here, put my coat over you.
Why couldn't you leave me alone?
I couldn't.
Why?
Because it's important to me.
I suppose you want to know why I did it.
If I told you I understand, would you believe me?
How could you understand?
Maybe I know what it means to be lonely. That's it, isn't it?
I don't know. I'm so terribly tired.
Put your head against my arm and just stay. Don't be afraid. I've been looking for you for a long time.
Looking for me?
All my life.
How did you know? I don't believe you.
It's true. I found your message.
Oh?
So you see, there's nothing to be afraid of. Not anymore. Just rest. The moonlight is terribly white.
Yes. I'd like to rest for a while.
She didn't remember it, of course. But I was one of the reporters who had covered the story when it first happened, 5 years ago. I'll never forget that day. I was working the police blotter. It was a quiet summer afternoon when they brought her in. 2 big cops in blue uniforms.
Come on now, girlie, come on.
Let me go. I haven't done anything.
Take it easy now.
What's the trouble, Connolly?
Disturbing the peace, Sergeant.
Is this that Central Park call?
Hey, this is it.
I thought you radioed that there was a near riot up there.
Oh, you should have seen the place.
All right, give me the report.
Well, me and Bennett got up there, and there was a mob of people all surrounding this girl, see? So we bust through, and there in the middle of maybe 600 people, she's lying there, sort of in a faint. I asked a couple of people what the difficulty was, and they tell me it's the flying saucer.
The what?
The flying saucer.
What flying saucer?
Let me finish, Sergeant. What flying saucer, I ask. And then they says that this girl was standing on the green, and suddenly the saucer comes down and starts whirring over her head like a halo.
What is this, miss? A gag?
It happened.
It did, eh? Well, now suppose you tell me your version.
I was standing in the park, and I looked up, and there it was.
Describe it.
It was beautiful. It was golden with a dusty finish, like an unripe Concord grape. It made a faint sound, a chord of 2 tones. And it circled over my head like some great round hummingbird.
Go on.
Well, other people must have seen it because they were all looking at me and pointing. I saw one man cross himself. And then it came down and touched me and spoke to me.
This flying saucer spoke to you?
Yes.
And, just what did it say to you? I said, what did it say?
I can't tell you.
A secret, huh?
Yes.
I see. Connolly, this girl is for Bellevue.
Well, Sergeant, the plain fact is that it happened just like that. And 10 witnesses all agree it did.
Are you trying to tell me that there was such a thing as this whirring hummingbird of a saucer?
Oh, there was that, Sergeant.
And just how do you know, Connolly?
Well, we've got the thing out in the squad car.
You what?
Dennis bringing it in right now, see? About 36 inches across it is. And covered with strange markings.
Great, Mother. Did you call the bomb squad?
I didn't think of it.
Well, think of it, man. This may be some kind of atomic weapon.
I'll turn it over to ballistics.
Never mind about ballistics. Call the FBI and tell them we've got this thing.
Yes, sir. What about the girl?
We'll book her on disturbing the peace. I've got a feeling the government men may want a word with her.
Sergeant.
What is it, Beniades?
I'd like to do a story on this for my paper. Could I have a look at the saucer?
We'd better clear it first.
Well, could I talk to the girl?
After she's been booked.
Connolly, is the crowd still up at the park?
Very likely.
Well, I'll run up there and get some eyewitnesses. Then I'd like to come back and talk to the girl. Up at the park, they were still buzzing about it. Some said she was a communist agitator. Some said it was a flying saucer from Mars, and she had stepped out of it. Others said she was a saint, and it was her halo. I took some notes, phoned the paper, and went back downtown to talk to her. But there were a couple of agents with her, and they wouldn't let me in.
Now then, miss, you told the sergeant this saucer spoke to you. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did it speak to you in English?
I don't know.
You did understand it, though.
Yes.
Do you speak any other languages?
No.
Tell me, what message did you receive from this instrument?
Wasn't anything, really.
Suppose you tell me.
I'd rather not.
Miss, let me be very frank. I'm not a policeman. I'm a security agent. That means that I deal with problems that affect the security of our country. Do you understand?
Yes.
Now, we've examined this flying saucer enough to know that it is not of American manufacture. It also possesses an extremely high radioactive count. Now, that means that it was made in an area where radioactive materials are in great abundance, such as an area where atom bombs are made. That's why we want to know the message you received from the saucer.
There was no message.
You just made it up.
Yes.
I'm afraid you're lying. Suppose we have some soldiers bring the saucer in here and hold it over your head. Would you object?
I don't care what you do.
All right, boys, bring it in. Now, when I tell the men to hold it over your head, you try to recall what it said.
I don't know what it said.
Lift it up, boys. Hold it right over her head. It's talking to you now, isn't it?
Yes.
What is it saying? What did it say? All right, boys, crate it up and send it down to the National Research Laboratories.
Right. What about the girl, sir?
We'll get nothing out of her. I don't believe she really knows what that humming noise is. Better have a psychiatrist examine her.
Yes, sir.
They took her to the city hospital, and she had a room to herself. Whenever the door opened, she could see the policeman outside. The door opened quite often. There were a lot of important people, some in army uniforms, who came up from Washington just to see her and talk to her. Apparently, they had analyzed the flying saucer and discovered something that made this girl about the most important person in the country. I used to stand outside, and I could identify the heads of certain security agencies, but nobody would answer the questions that the reporters shot at them. Sir, excuse me?
Yes?
I'm Jason Beniades from the Trib.
I've been assigned to this flying saucer story as chief of the security...
I'm sorry, I have no comment.
Can you tell me how long the girl will be held?
That's a matter for the civil authorities.
We'll have the psychiatrist...
Excuse me, Mr. Benides. My car's waiting.
A few days later, she was released from the hospital and returned to the court to be tried on the disorderly conduct charge. They found her guilty and fined her $15 and turned her loose. When she walked out of the courtroom, she was handed a subpoena to appear before a congressional committee in private session. She answered all their questions except one. My paper sent me over to cover the hearings.
Now, young lady, I want to remind you that I'm a senator of the United States and empowered by the people of this country to ask questions relating to matters of security. You understand?
Yes?
Your name is Janet Boyce, is it not?
I told you that.
Now, at an earlier session, you testified that as a young girl, you were a member of a certain organization in your neighborhood. Would you name it?
The Rinky Dinks.
Who comprised the Rinky Dinks, Miss Boyce?
It was just a bunch of girls who got together to play field hockey and listen to recordings.
Any particular recordings?
Mostly Eddie Fisher.
I see. Now, this flying saucer, you said it talked to you. You did say that, didn't you?
Yes.
And then you denied it?
Yes.
Why?
Because I was tired of answering questions.
Young woman, let me put something to you squarely. Oh, by the way, I think if there are members of the press here, I can divulge a rather spectacular piece of information to you. This flying saucer has been thoroughly examined and analyzed, and I wish to inform the people of this great nation that it definitely, I repeat, it definitely did not originate on this planet. Now then, Miss Boyce, consider that it is possible that our Earth might be attacked from outer space by beings much stronger and cleverer than we are. And consider that perhaps you have the key to our defense against those beings. Don't you owe it to the world?
I don't think I owe anything to anybody.
Even if the Earth was not attacked, just think what an advantage it would give this country over its enemies. Young woman, I ask you, what did that flying saucer say to you? Do you know that what you're doing is tantamount to working for the enemies of your country? I will give you one more chance. What was the message?
It was personal.
Gentlemen, I move that Miss Janet Boyce be cited for contempt.
The furor was fantastic. The chief of security blasted the senator for divulging secret information about the origin of the flying saucer, and the senator said the people had a right to know, and besides, he was just guessing anyway, and happened to guess right. Meanwhile, the press printed the girl's picture all over the front page and ran banner headlines such as, "Girl refuses to betray Martian secrets. Flying saucer girl won't talk, cited for contempt." The contempt trial was equally spectacular. She didn't plead any amendment or anything. She just said the saucer was talking to her, and it was nobody else's business. She was convicted and sentenced to 5 years in prison. Beniades. Yes, Chief. For the Sunday supplement? What do you think there's anything in it? Okay, whatever you say. Mike, get me everything you can on that flying saucer girl, will you? Yeah, the one that was sent to jail about 4 years ago. See if you can find out what she's doing now. She was released about 6 months ago, I think. Uh-huh. Yeah, the boss wants a feature for the Sunday supplement. Okay. I found out she had gotten a job cleaning at night in offices and stores down near the beachfront. There weren't many to clean, but that meant there weren't many people to remember her face from the newspapers. I tracked her down and caught up with her in a one-armed coffee joint about 4 in the morning. Excuse me, miss. Do you mind if I sit here?
No.
Nice night, isn't it? Moonlight and everything.
Which are you? Security, newspapers, or just somebody out for a good time?
You're pretty bitter, aren't you?
Shouldn't I be?
Yeah, I guess you should. My name is Jason Bernaides. I'm with the newspaper.
It's been nice meeting you. I have to go now.
Just a minute.
Please.
I can't blame you.
How did you find me?
One of the leg men located your mother. I talked to her earlier tonight.
Oh. How is she?
Still hitting the bottle. The way she knew where you were, you sent her some flowers on her birthday, remember?
Yes. She wouldn't talk to me. Said she didn't want a daughter who was a jailbird.
Tell me how it's been.
So you can write about it?
I promise you I won't write anything you don't want me to write.
Okay. You want to know how it's been? Right after I got out of jail, I met a man at a restaurant. Nice man. He asked me for a date. I spent every cent I had on a red handbag to go with my red shoes. They weren't the same shade, but anyway, they were both red. And I was very excited about the date. We went to a movie. Afterward, he didn't even try to kiss me or anything. He just wanted to know what the flying saucer had told me. Didn't say anything. I just went home and cried all night.
And that was it?
No. I had another date. I get pretty lonely. This time they arrested the man I was with. He was a Russian agent. On Christmas Eve, 4 men called me up and sang me a song. Would you like to hear the words?
It doesn't matter.
They go, the flying saucer came down one day and taught her a brand new way to play, and what it was she will not say, but she takes me out of this world.
I'm sorry.
Now will you go away and leave me alone?
Yes.
Aren't you going to ask me the big question?
No.
Everybody does.
No, well, not me.
You will, sooner or later.
Maybe. Look, can I take you home?
No.
Can I see you again? Please.
I don't know. I'm afraid to let myself like anyone.
Trust me. Will you?
I'm not sure.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I'll wait here for you tomorrow night.
All right.
The next night, I went back to the coffee joint to wait for her. I knew she got through about 4 a.m. I got there about 15 minutes early.
Mr. Bernaides?
Yes. Say, you're the chief of the security section, aren't you?
You have a good memory. You mind if I sit down?
Well, I'm expecting someone.
Yes, I know.
Oh, I see.
I'd like to talk to you.
Go ahead.
You probably know that we've been trying to gain the confidence of this girl for some years now.
Yes.
And apparently you've succeeded where we've failed.
Well, not really.
In any event, you seem to be making some progress.
She may not even show up.
I think she will. Now, I'm going to ask you to help us.
Help? In what way can I help?
We have reason to believe that this girl is a courier for some alien power.
On what do you base that?
Well, there was the incident of the saucer, of course. We've definitely established that it came from some other planet. And recently, she's been throwing messages inside bottles into the ocean.
What sort of messages?
They're always the same. Now, I have one right here. You're welcome to read it and see if it makes any sense. We've had every decoding expert in the service trying to break it. But we can't seem to find the key.
I see.
Now, she's throwing literally hundreds of these messages in bottles into the sea. We've got many of them, but not all, naturally. Now, what we're most interested in is locating the contact.
Naturally.
And that's where you fit in. We'd like you to gain this girl's confidence even further. Try to find out just what these messages mean, and beyond that, what the saucer said to her. You'll be doing us a favor and your country a great service.
You're certain this is some subversive activity on her part?
How else can you explain the fact that she won't tell us her secret?
Maybe because it's hers, and everybody has a right to have something of his own.
Are you, trying to tell me that you won't cooperate?
I didn't say that.
I'd like to remind you, Mr. Beniades, that you have a duty to us.
I know that. I also have a duty to myself and to God. If you'll excuse me. I folded the bottle message and put it in my pocket. I waited for her to show up. The minutes went by, and the hours, and I knew she wasn't coming. Oh, she had come and seen me with the chief and changed her mind. That's when I left the cafe and walked down to the beach. That's when I dragged her out of the surf before she could follow one of her bottles into the water. How do you feel now? Are you cold?
Why should you care?
I do.
Is that why you were sitting with the security chief in the cafe?
I didn't arrange that meeting. He asked me to spy on you.
I suppose he told you about the bottle.
Yes.
Wonder how much of the taxpayers' money they spent gathering them up. I think they'd get tired of it. All the writing in the bottles is the same.
Maybe you could have saved a lot of trouble.
Do you think so? All of them. Judges, jailers, jukeboxes, people. Do you really think it would have saved me a minute's trouble if I told them the whole truth at the very beginning?
Wouldn't it?
No. They wouldn't have believed me. What they wanted was a new weapon. Some super scientific super science from some alien super race. Science. That's all they think of.
Yeah, it's pretty important.
Would it ever have occurred to them that this super race from another planet might have super feelings? Or super longings? Or super loneliness? No. All they think about is weapons. Isn't it time you asked me what the saucer said?
No.
They all ask me.
I don't have to ask you. I know.
You know?
Let me read it to you. There is in certain living souls a quality of loneliness unspeakable, so great it must be shared as company is shared by lesser beings. Such a loneliness is mine. So know by this that in immensity there is one lonelier than you.
How did you know?
It's the message you put in the bottles. The same message that some lonely, strange being in some other world put into a bottle, only his bottle was a flying saucer and sent across space to you.
You knew.
I'm lonely too. Look at me. I've never had the love of a woman. They think I'm pretty ugly.
You're not ugly.
No. I don't feel ugly right now.
Say it again. The message from the saucer.
Know by this that in immensity there is one lonelier than you.
I wonder if whoever first wrote it has found someone.
I think perhaps he has. She looked at me and said nothing. But it was as if a light came from her. More light than even the practiced moon could cast. Among the many things it meant was the fact that even to loneliness there is an end for those who are lonely enough, long enough.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features I Am a Nucleus by Stephen Barr, the story of a man who felt he was hexed because his comfortably untidy world had suddenly turned into a monstrosity of order. Galaxy Magazine, on your newsstand today. Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you Saucer of Loneliness, a story from the pages of Galaxy written by Theodore Sturgeon and adapted for radio by George Lefferts. Featured in the cast were Elaine Rost as Janet, Nat Polan as Jason, William Keane as the sergeant, Jock McGregor as the cop, Mandel Kramer as the chief, and Wendell Holmes as the senator. This is Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Fred Way and is an NBC Radio Network production.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire.
From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents X-1. Tonight, The Girls from Earth by Frank M. Robinson.
Mike McDonald is the name. Firm of Beagle and McDonald, Interplanetary Promotions, number 1 Park Avenue, New York. Drop in sometime. Brand new offices. Had them decorated by one of the biggest guys in the business. You know, it's hard to believe that only 6 months ago, me and Charlie Beagle, my associate, were stranded in a one-tank mining town on Mars. Let me tell you about it.
Here comes the waiter.
Play it cool.
Yeah, but we got no dough.
Play it cool, I said.
Gentlemen?
I'll have the sirloin.
One sirloin. Earth or Martian?
Well, what's the difference?
Well, the Earth sirloin's from genuine steers, $24 a pound. The Martian sirloin's from a domestic sloofer, $2.
Charlie, you ever tasted sloofer? We'll have the domestic.
Very good. A beverage?
Any coffee?
Well, he ran out of coffee in 1997. Haven't been able to get any. Try the muggle juice.
Muggle juice?
It's a Martian vegetable. Has a pleasant narcotic effect.
You better make it whiskey. Whiskey?
That we got.
Fine. My friend will have the same.
Yes, sir.
Mike, would you mind telling me how we're going to pay for this sloofer steak?
Relax. I'm thinking.
And even more important, how are we going to get out of this burg?
Charlie, what we need is a mark.
A mark?
A sucker. And if I'm not mistaken, this little guy with the glasses coming in now is just what we're looking for. Pardon me, sir. My friend and I are just in from Earth, and we don't know much about the customs here. I wonder if you'd be good enough to let us buy you dinner and tell us something about the town.
Why, that's very kind of you. You needn't buy me dinner, though. After all, you're the guests here.
Well, that's very nice of you. Do join us.
Thank you. My name is Henry Mortensen. I'm geologist for the Interplanetary Mining Company.
Mike McDonald and my friend Charlie Beagle.
How do you do?
Oh, pleasure.
You say you're just in from Earth?
Yes, that's right. Charlie and I are interested in uranium. Just sort of snooping around to see if there's a decent investment up here.
Oh, I see.
You'll forgive me. It's not much of a town, really.
No, I don't suppose it is. After all, you take 20,000 men and plunk them down in the desert like this, and you can't expect much.
20,000 men.
No tomatoes?
Sir?
Tomatoes. Girls.
Girls. Oh, I'd almost forgotten what the word meant. No, you see, the Colonization Board hasn't been very successful in persuading Earth women to migrate here. There are a few female Saturnians, the four-armed variety, but aside from that...
Well, what do the boys do for, relaxation?
Well, being a geologist, I'm naturally interested in rock formations.
For relaxation?
A great many of the men indulge in gambling, and of course there are limp races every glib day.
Glib day?
We have a 9-day week here on Mars.
Oh.
Tell me, Mr. Mortensen.
Henry.
Tell me, Henry, don't the boys get lonesome for the sight of a woman?
Well, it is a problem. The men sign up for 9-year hitches. Most of them have forgotten what a woman looks like.
Mm-hmm. Do most of these men plan to stay here?
I suppose if they had families, they might. The pay is good, and I suspect most of them had their reasons for leaving Earth.
I see. Well, how about yourself? Suppose you found the right woman, which in this case would be just about any woman.
Oh, I'm very particular.
Oh, I mean any woman who met your rigid specifications. Would you stay?
You mean get married?
Yeah, that's the bit.
Well, of course, it's out of the question. No woman has ever showed the slightest interest in me.
Well, suppose one agreed to marry you in advance, and she met all your specifications.
Well, I've always wanted a family. Yes, I suppose I'd marry.
That's very admirable. Very, very admirable.
Here's the waiter with our dinner.
Slew for steak, gentlemen. Good luck with it.
Henry picked up the tab, and we got a rough idea how much cash these guys on Mars pack around with them. Enough to choke a galactic telescope is about all. We thanked the little guy and sat around until he left. Then I went to work.
Okay, what do we do now?
Charlie, we get to work.
What work? Oh, card game, maybe?
Listen, these guys have been playing cards for 15 years now. We wouldn't have a prayer. I got an idea.
So give.
You still got that Earth magazine, the one with the Hollywood starlet on the cover?
Yeah, in my suitcase.
Good, I want it.
What for?
To make our poster advertisement, that's what's for.
Poster?
Look, Charlie, just picture this. A big poster with that starlet on it, twice as big as life. And underneath, this slogan, I'm coming from Earth to you.
Huh?
Then down in the corner, just this little notice. Applications will be accepted at Beagle and McDonald Agency.
Well, it's great. But what is it?
What is it? Just the most colossal promotion scheme ever devised by man, that's all.
But what are you promoting?
The easiest thing in the world to promote. And the hardest. Marriage.
Marriage?
Look at it this way, Charlie boy. Here on Mars, we have 20,000 strong Earthmen with but a single thought.
Dames.
Exactly. And on Earth, we have 20 million single dames with but a thought.
Husbands.
So?
Oh, how are you going to do it?
All right, now we get this poster made. We put it up. We take applications. $100 a head plus the cost of transportation. We get the $100.
Then we leave.
But first we deliver the girl.
Oh, it's a natural.
A natural. Charlie, it's colossal. What's 20,000 times 100?
$2 million.
Wow, that's our profit.
Wait a minute.
What?
How are we going to line up 20,000 girls and convince them to come up to this desert?
I'm working on that. Come on, we got to find a printer to make our poster.
What do we use for dough?
You huck your watch. Come on, let's go. We got the poster made, and it is a beaut. The artist threw in some extra fullness in the lips and stuck a glass of champagne in one hand. The next step was to rent a little field tent right outside the mining camp. We stuck the poster in front of it and waited for the guys to get through work.
Hey, Tom. Hey, dig this. What do you say we sign up?
What for?
Well, whatever they're selling inside.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, come on, what have we got to lose?
You gentlemen interested in matrimony?
Marriage?
That's what we're selling, boys. To her? Or anybody your heart desires. Just step inside, fill out the specification chart, pay your fee, and we deliver.
On the level?
On the level.
Well, what do you say, Tom?
It's worth a gamble.
Right this way, gentlemen. Mr. Beagle will take care of you.
No sooner said than done, gentlemen. Step right this way and live.
At the end of the first day, we had deposits amounting to about $15,000. By the third day, we had to beat them off with clubs. Everybody had a dream girl, and we were guaranteeing delivery.
40,000, 50,000, 60,000 bucks home. Mike, what do you say we skip out on the first space free?
What are you, nuts? There's another million coming here, and my name isn't Mike McDonald.
Oh, yeah, incidentally.
Yeah.
Have you figured out a way to deliver on this swindle?
Naturally.
You have?
Of course. Oh. We just go down to Earth and put up a different poster. Guaranteed husbands. Every one of them an Adonis.
What happens when they arrive? We get lynched?
Look, while these ladies are en route to Mars, you and me are en route to Earth. Get it?
Yeah.
I radio-phoned a friend of mine down on Earth and had him place an ad in the New York papers the next day, complete with a picture of a handsome Martian uranium miner and a caption that read, "Husbands are waiting on Mars." When the next space liner rolled in, it brought the list of lady applicants from Earth, complete with photographs and background. Here's the first batch, Charlie. Let's look them over.
Yeah, right.
Let's see now. Maybe the next one will be a little better.
How is it?
Let's see the next one.
Lola Carroll, age 29. 29? Whew, she's 40 if she's a day. Occupation, homebody. Background in education, blank. Oh, note from Mitchell. Says she did 4 years at a reformatory for shoplifting, and she's currently on parole.
Let's see this one. Wanda Baker, age 35, occupation gymnastic instructor, State College. Note says she was picked up for loitering and fined on 17 different occasions. Oh, brother.
These ain't exactly the creme de la creme, these ladies.
What'd you expect?
It ain't what I expect, Mike. It's what the boys in the mining camp expect. $100 fee plus $2,500 for transportation. That ain't hay.
Wait a minute. I got an idea.
I'm waiting.
First, we get rid of all these pictures, see? Then we print up a few thousand pictures of movie starlets, and we paste them on the applications. We make a few changes in the statistics, such as age and so on, and we're back in business.
You know, Mike, I used to think you were about as crooked as a one-armed bandit, but I don't think it anymore. I know it.
So we spent the next few nights pasting up pictures and changing age 38 to age 28 and so on. It was easy. Then we called in the applicants from the mining camp and gave each one the dope sheet on his prospective bride.
Hey, Bill. Hey, look at mine. Lola Carroll, age 29. Boy.
Mine's named Wanda Baker. She's 25. Well, you dig this picture? She's almost...
What's wrong?
Mine looks exactly like yours.
What? Let me see.
Take a look at those two pictures.
You're right.
Wait a minute. Hey, Mr. Mortensen.
Yes?
Take a look at this. Both alike.
Most peculiar. Particularly peculiar since, well, mine looks like yours, too.
You put in for a wife?
Why not? Miranda Potts, age 25. A former lady wrestling coach. But the pictures puzzle me.
I think maybe these guys are trying to pull a fast one.
You may be right at that. Come, gentlemen, let's pay a visit to our benefactors, Mr. McDonald and Mr. Beagle.
At the precise moment that Henry Mortensen and his two aggressive companions decided to drop in on myself and Charlie Beagle, we were in the process of tying our money into small bundles and placing it in suitcases, which also contained our clothes and tickets for the next rocket to Earth. It was very embarrassing. Oh, yes, gentlemen?
We would like a word with you, Mr. McDonald.
Well, Mr. Beagle and I are a little busy.
I'm afraid it'll have to wait.
Oh, what seems to be the problem?
Just the three of us have the picture of the same girl clipped to our applications.
Really? Well, let's have a look.
Right here.
Well, what do you know? Charlie, take a look.
Huh?
You imbecile, you didn't check for duplicates. Well, now I think maybe I have an explanation, boys.
Go on.
None of you has been on Earth for some years now, is that right?
That's true.
Well, you know how styles take hold on Earth. One year every woman's curly and blonde. Next year it's straight and brunette. Well, the same thing has happened with cosmetics, makeup, and so on. Now, gentlemen, when I was on Earth last month, every woman in New York was trying to look like a certain movie actress. It got so men couldn't tell their own lives apart.
That isn't very convincing, Mr. McDonald.
Look, boys, obviously there was some mix-up at the Earth Agency. They got the wrong pictures pasted up or something, but I'm sure it'll all straighten itself out. Now, if you don't mind, Mr. Beagle and I have to finish packing.
We mind.
You do?
You do?
Uh-huh. Tom, you take that money in those suitcases and lock them up over at the company office.
Now, boys, just a minute.
That's stealing, boys. It's considered dishonest.
We ain't stealing. We're just keeping the stuff in escrow, you might say.
Till when?
Till the rocket ships get here with the girls. If these dames are as gorgeous as you tell us they are, you'll get every penny of your dough.
Suppose they ain't quite gorgeous.
And you and your friend here are going to suddenly find yourselves unable to carry on as living humans. You fetch my meaning?
I fetch. Well, this caused a small dilemma in me and my partner, Beagle. The problem was easy to state. We had sold these guys on the idea that they were engaged to be wedded to an assortment of lovely, desirable, attractive young girls from Earth. The contingent from Earth, on the other hand, was made up mainly of frustrated, lonely women and a goodly portion of female criminal types. The problem was how to convince these boys that they were not getting cheated. That's enough, Charlie. Now, the problem is how to convince everybody that he ain't getting cheated, right?
Oh, you're a master of summing up a problem. Now how about solving it?
Yes, give me some time.
Look, the rocket fleet from Earth arrives here tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. 20,000 very strong miners will be assembled at the rocket port waiting.
True.
So?
Pour me a little more of that muggle juice.
No.
Muggle juice. We could get them all drunk on muggle juice, mass hypnotize them. I'm dreaming.
So what do we do?
I could make a speech, appeal to their better selves, say these poor, unfortunate women need love and affection, something they've never had.
Uh-huh.
How about makeup? Maybe we could hire a cosmetic man to make them up to look like the pictures.
Sure.
Or we could say that it's all a big mistake. We got the wrong shipment.
Or we could kill ourselves.
No need for that, Charlie. That's going to be done for us.
Yeah, that's what I figure.
Well, it's been a short life and a merry one. Drink up, Charlie. For tomorrow we die. The next morning, the miners came in from all parts of the desert to assemble at the spaceport. It was quite a sight. They'd all shaved and spruced up for the occasion, and some of them looked downright handsome. And every one of them had a package wrapped with ribbon for his prospective bride.
Tom! Hey, Tom, over here!
Hi.
Some excitement, huh?
I'm sweating like a schoolboy on his first date.
Why, see, you got a present, too.
Yeah, they were selling some of that cologne water. Hanley's number 4.
Well, I got the same thing.
Boy, this whole planet is going to smell like Hanley's number 4.
Is my tie on straight? It's been 8 years since I tied a tie.
That's pretty good. Boy, everybody is nervous as a cat.
You know, I took a look at myself in the mirror this morning. It was quite an experience. I just stood there looking. And then I said to myself, Bill, you're a slob. You couldn't get a girl on Earth. And if you're lucky, maybe the one who's coming today won't go back on the first ship.
I was thinking the same thing. You suppose they'll be as glamorous as those 2 crooks told us?
You know what? I hope not. I just wouldn't feel right bringing a real cultured, glamorous creature to that tar paper shack over near mine number 6.
I was thinking the same thing.
Hey, there's Mortensen. Boy, he looks like he's going to the radiation chamber.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Hi.
Well, it shouldn't be long now.
We ought to sight the first ship any minute.
Fellow down at number 3 mine was trying to get out of it. He was so sure his girl would be disappointed.
Well, maybe they won't expect so much. Oh, here he comes! Here he comes!
Attention, all men waiting to receive wives. The Earth-Mars convoy, Operation Big Date, is approaching the landing area. Please stand behind the fire screen until the ships are all landed. And good luck.
During all this, Charlie Beagle and I were more or less under guard back at our office. I say more or less because there were 6 miners with loaded guns sitting practically on top of us. In the distance, we could hear the rockets come blasting in for a landing. And then everything got very quiet. And we knew the girls were coming off the ships.
What do you suppose is happening?
Well, it's pretty quiet, Charlie. I guess the girls are coming off.
Yeah, I don't hear no sounds of rejoicing.
Now, just take it easy.
You suppose they'll hang us or shoot us?
Now, relax.
Relax, he says, but... Oh, here comes a jeep with Uncle Henry and...
Is he alone?
Uh-huh.
Well, so long, Charlie. Gentlemen? Now, look, Mr. Mortensen, this can all be explained. There was an error and the wrong girls got shot.
Don't try to explain it, McDonald.
But you can't just kill us without even a trial. I mean, it isn't just.
Who said anything about killing you? We're throwing a banquet tonight, and we want you and Mr. Beagle as guests of honor.
As what?
Guests of honor.
You mean the girls were okay?
Okay, they're lovely. The nicest thing about them, of course, is that they don't expect much. They seem to accept us with all our faults and all the shabbiness and ugliness of the life on Mars. There isn't a one of them who turned up her nose at the place. They seem thankful just to be here.
And the guys, they all feel okay about it?
Okay, they're like a bunch of kids. There isn't a one of them who wasn't scared breathless that he'd have some sophisticated glamour girl on his hands. No, sir. These are down-to-earth women who had it tough on Earth, and they figure to find some happiness here if it's humanly possible.
Yeah, but how did the boys like the way they shape up?
Charlie.
I mean, there might be some that seemed a little older than the applications. You know how clerical errors can be made.
Well, gentlemen, when you've been living on Mars for 15 years without having seen even a single Earth woman, you kind of lose these standards that Hollywood sets for us. As far as I and the other men are concerned, they're gorgeous.
Well, that's the story, which proves you can sell a guy a gold brick that's made out of lead, and sometimes you find out the poor sucker likes lead even better than gold. Charlie Beagle and myself made a small fortune on the deal, like I said before. I made a trip back to Mars last month just to satisfy my curiosity, and you know what? I never saw a happier bunch of people in all my life. Hey, by the way, Henry Mortensen and the lady wrestler are having a kid. They're going to call it Mike if it's a boy, and Michelle if it's a girl.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features The Ignoble Savages by Evelyn E. Smith, the story of the Snagra, which had but one choice in its fight to afford to live below ground, to pretend that theirs was an above-board society. Galaxy Magazine, on your newsstand today. Tonight, X-1 has brought you The Girls from Earth, a story from the pages of Galaxy written by Frank M. Robinson and adapted for radio by George Lefferts. Featured in the cast were Mandel Kramer as Mike, Bob Hastings as Charlie, John Gibson as Henry, Jim Stevens as Tom, Dick Hamilton as Bill, and Phil Sterling as the waiter. This is Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Daniel Sutter and is an NBC Radio Network production.
On Euclidia, the magic island of the South Seas, events are moving very rapidly. Johnson's boat has arrived and been captured. Jerry and Joan have been in the chemical laboratory, and watch the exploding gas from Captain Bradford's trick formula put the Euclidean scientists, including G-47, to sleep. Now, Jerry and Joan are back on Mrs. Gregory's yacht, where it is lashed to Johnson's boat. Jerry is running a little portable power saw on the deck of the yacht to cover up the noise of the pumps transferring oil to Johnson's boat for the escape attempt. Joan is with her mother in the radio cabin.
J24Y to Wilmington. Patricia Gregory to the Gregory Relay Station. Hello, Wilmington. J24Y to Wilmington. Hello. Hello.
I cannot understand, Mother dear, why they do not answer you.
I understand it, Joan, and I don't expect them to answer me.
Why not, Mother?
For one reason, they can't possibly hear me. We're 4,000 miles from the California coast, and with our broken aerial and this set not working properly, we're lucky if we can be heard 400 miles, let alone 4,000.
Then how does it help us any to keep calling? And your messages sound so strange. I do not understand much of your plan, I think.
Well, I haven't much of a plan, dear. What I'm trying to do is keep the Euclideans in the radio chambers busy worrying about these messages. As long as they think our position is hopeless here and that we're frantically calling for help, they won't suspect how nearly ready we are to try and escape.
But what about Mr. Johnson? Will he be hearing these messages and acting on them to help you?
I hope so, dear, though it's rather difficult to put much of value to him in the messages. However, he'll be listening to all of them, as long as he's within range of this transmitter at least. And when we actually run away from here, he may be able to figure some way to meet us before our fuel gives out.
I'm so afraid, Mother dear, that these Euclideans will discover you have cut holes in the two boats and are transferring the oil from this yacht to Johnson's cruiser.
They may not. Jerry's making a very convincing job of sawing on that mast out there. The noise will cover the sound of the pumps are making, and unless some of the Euclideans actually swim in between the boats, as you and Jerry did, I don't think they'll see the holes. They're so near the waterline.
I would like to go out on the deck and see what is happening now.
You'd better not, dear. Jerry and the captain will be busy trying to answer the questions of that Euclidean guard. You'd only add to the confusion if you went out there.
What if the guard should discover the plans to use the other boat in escaping?
Joan, dear, don't be so pessimistic. If those things happen, they'll simply have to happen. Now, I'll use the radio again and see if I can think of something which might give Johnson an idea as to our real position here. J24Y calling Wilmington. Gregory Yacht to Relay Station. Relay this to Gregory Land Station at Wilmington. Both boats powerless. Held captive at latitude 29 degrees south. Longitude 124 degrees 30 minutes west. Impossible attempt escape. No fuel for boats.
Oh, the captain.
Yes, Joan, and I've got some good news for you.
What is it, Tex?
Go right on with your sending, Pat. This can wait until you get your message out.
I wasn't sending anything of value, Tex, just trying to find a way to let Johnson know something definite about our plans and the situation here.
Well, after we figure a little on what I've got now, maybe it'll be easier to get a message to Johnson that he will understand.
You have discovered something of value to us, Captain Bradford?
I think so. That Euclidean who came aboard just now and put Jerry and me through a cross-examination didn't have any idea that the gas explosion in the laboratory was anything more than an accident. He wanted to know if that had ever happened to me when I was working on the formula.
You think they were really deceived about it?
No doubt of it. They don't even suspect that the formula was deliberately prepared to put them to sleep.
I can believe that is possible, as the Euclidean chemists were all in the laboratory at the time, and they would be the only ones on the island with enough knowledge of chemistry to suspect anything about the formula.
Right, Joan, and as long as these chemists stay asleep, we won't have any trouble over that.
But the man who came and talked to you, he must have had something definite in mind. What did he question you about?
He wanted to know if I had an antidote for the action of the gas. If I couldn't go to the laboratory and revive these men some way.
Of course you will not do it, Captain.
You bet I won't. And I couldn't even if I wanted to. There's nothing I ever heard of that'll bring these men out of their little nap.
How long will the effects last?
Oh, several hours. At least until after dark. The minute it's dark, we've got to make our break for the open.
But how will we ever get that boat of Johnson's out through the pier opening and away from the island without being heard?
There is often a brisk wind from the south in the evening. Could you sail that boat out, Captain?
That's what I'm figuring on trying. They'd hear the motors.
I wonder if the batteries in Johnson's boat are in shape to handle the radio.
I imagine they're pretty dead after dragging that boat around, but we'll move our batteries over there after dark.
Oh, Captain, listen. The noise has stopped.
Yeah, so it has. That means the oil's all transferred to the other boat, and Jerry can quit sewing on that mast.
Well, Jerry, did you finish with the mast?
Yes, Mrs. Gregory. And I wanted to ask you about that, Tex.
What is it, Jerry?
Don't you think it'd be a good idea for me to go right ahead and set that short mast into place, then rig up the radio aerial again? It'll give these fellas an idea we're planning on staying on this boat, if they're watching us.
I think that would be very wise, Jerry.
You would think so. Easy enough for you to sit here and think things are wise for me to do. Have you ever tried pushing a mast around?
Why, no, Jerry.
Then come on out with me. You're going to learn how to do it.
Now, Jerry, that work will be too hard for Joan.
Oh, I don't want her to work. I just want her to sit there and watch me do it, so she can tell me how good I am when I get it done.
Well, if you need moral support, go right ahead, Jerry, and take Joan with you. I'm going to stay here with Pat for a while and try to figure out how to get an intelligent message to Johnson.
Come on, Joan. You can boss the job while I work on the mast.
You must both be very careful out there.
We will, Mother, and I will see that Jerry does a good job. Now I want to see what you have done, Jerry.
I'll show that to you later. Just now I've got another idea in my mind. Come on around behind this cabin.
But, Jerry, what do you...
Now, don't ask me now. Wait till we get around here. There. Now, this ought to do.
For what?
Wait till I get a chance to tell you. Now, first, we've got this radio cabin between us and the island, right?
Of course, Jerry. That is obvious.
Never mind the cracks. Just answer my questions. Now, that cabin is all lined with that Euclidean soundproof cloth. All the way around, isn't it?
Precisely.
Hey.
I am sorry. I mean, certainly it is.
Then, if we stand here, with that cabin between us and the island, can we talk without anyone on the island hearing us?
Yes, Jerry. I am sure that is possible. Of course, we will have to watch for anyone on the other pier over there.
Oh, I know that. We'll have to watch all around and up and down. But what I want to know, is there any way for their sound beams from the central control chamber on the island to pick up what we say from here?
No, Jerry. We will be safe with this insulated cabin between us and the instruments.
Swell. Now listen, I've got an idea. And it's something I didn't dare tell your mother and Tex because they wouldn't let us try it. But I think you and I can put it over.
Is it something dangerous, Jerry?
Plenty. But it's just as good as it is dangerous. And it's a swell chance to make sure we get off this island tonight.
Oh, Jerry, what is it? I will help you, no matter how dangerous it might be.
Atta girl, Joan. I knew you'd be with me. But we've got to be mighty careful that Captain Bradford or Mrs. Gregory don't find out anything about it.
Then we must speak very quietly, Jerry. They might hear us through this cabin wall.
But you said the cloth would keep them from that.
Not exactly, Jerry. The cloth would keep sound from being recorded in the control room. But if we spoke loudly enough, our voices might be heard through this thin wall. Not what we said, of course. But if they heard our voices here, when we should be on the other side of the boat working on that mast, they might come out to see who it was.
Right, Joan. We'll take it easy.
Now tell me what it is. You must have some plan which you and I can work out.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Listen. Oh, boy, that's swell. The skipper and Mac are working on that mast now. Tex will think it's me, and he won't come out looking for me.
But hurry, Jerry, your plan.
Well, I'll tell you, Joan. It's mighty dangerous, for you as well as me. And you don't have to go for it if you don't want to.
Why, Jerry, do you not realize that I want to do everything you do and go with you at all times? I am afraid of nothing, Jerry, if you and I are to try it together.
Atta baby, Joan. Atta baby.
I know what that means now, Jerry. It means
Never
that...
mind that now. You're a swell girl, Joan, but your English is terrible. Forget it and listen to the plan.
Of course, Jerry.
Well, to begin with, my plan's only good if you know a whole lot about this island. I mean, where the main switches are that control all the electricity on the island. Where the one room is where the most damage would be done if anything happened to that room. And where the men are that would have to watch out for most.
You want a good deal, Jerry. But I think I can help you with all of it.
Okay. Now, here's one other thing. How far can we walk on that island without getting stopped? I mean, how close can we get to any of the important rooms?
I think with the chemists all asleep in the laboratory, the other Euclideans will be rather uncertain in their conduct. We may find the watches very lax.
Well, now here's what we've got to do. Captain Bradford is planning on trying to sail Johnson's boat out after dark. And your mother is trying to get a message to Johnson that will let him know we'll be on the high seas without any fuel in the boat. Now, all that's all right, but I'm afraid Tex is leaving too much to chance here. Even if most of those guys are asleep, there'll be plenty of Euclideans who know how to handle those big ray guns and the submarines and all. And even without old G-47, I got a hunch somebody on that island is going to have sense enough to stop that boat before we get very far.
That is what I think, Jerry. But Mother and the captain will not let me talk that way.
I know that, but this is something they won't know anything about until it's all over. You and I are going to take a crack at wrecking a couple of the most important places on the island.
You mean we will attempt to destroy certain valuable nerve centers in the island mechanism in order to guarantee their improper function when the time arrives to attack our boat?
No, I mean, we'll bust up a few of the things they can't use and stop us.
That is exactly what I said, Jerry.
Well, didn't sound the same to me. Anyway, just before dark tonight, you and I are going to leave this boat. We'll take a walk on the island, and when we get back to the boat, we'll have a mighty good chance of getting away from here.
Unless we are caught, Jerry, then we will not get away at all.
Yeah, I guess that's right. But we'll try it just the same. Now, we'd better get out on deck there and act like we've been working on that mast.
You are right, Jerry. We must appear to have been very busy, so the captain and my mother will not be alarmed.
Yeah. I don't hear any noise around there. I guess they've got the mast set up again. Hey, stop, Joan.
What is it, Jerry?
One more thing we've got to do tonight, and it's the first thing. We've got to get our hands on one of those ray guns.
I will take care of that, Jerry. I have one for each of us.
You what? Where did you get them?
When we pretended to faint in the laboratory, I fell very close to the commander. When we left, I had both of her ray guns hidden in my dress.
Joan, you're swell.
I know it.
In just a few hours, the Gregory party will attempt to escape from the Magic Island. When the Gregory yacht, with Mrs. Gregory, Captain Tex Bradford, and Jerry Hall aboard, was captured and drawn to the strange island of Euclidia by magnetic force, a little homing pigeon was released to carry word of their trouble to another boat with Johnson on board. Johnson, in turn, released a pigeon which arrived safely at the Gregory yacht. And with the aid of these clever little birds, the prisoners have arrived at what seems to be a chance to escape. The Euclidean scientists are asleep in the chemical laboratory, victims of a formula Captain Bradford gave them. Jerry and Joan are in the radio cabin on the yacht, planning a desperate move to help Mrs. Gregory and the captain.
It's a slick plan, Joan, if we can only get away from this yacht to try it out.
I think if you leave that to me, Jerry, I will be able to give Mother and the captain a plausible excuse for our sudden desire to return to the island.
Well, if you can, with these two ray guns you swiped from the commander, we've got a chance to put it over. But I guess we'll have to get the plan all worked out before we leave here. There won't be any place we can talk without being heard once we get down inside that blamed island.
Oh, yes, Jerry. We may go to the sound channel for one.
Yeah, that's right.
And there are many small rooms throughout the island where we may talk in privacy if the Euclideans are not using them.
Yeah, if.
There will be many of the chemists' private quarters vacant. Remember that every chemist on the island is asleep in the laboratory.
Yeah, but it isn't the chemists we're worrying about. It's the electrical engineers and the radio operators and the submarine guards. We've got to get past all of them some way and get our hands on the switches or whatever cuts off the current supply on this island. We've got to get everything shut off so there's no chance of the Euclideans doing anything to stop us when we sail out of here right after dark.
It can be done, Jerry. It will be dangerous and exciting, but it can be done.
Okay, kid. I'm with you if you say so. But now we've got to think up an excuse to get off this yacht and onto the island.
I think, Jerry, the best way is for us to tell Mother and the captain what we intend trying to do.
They'll never let us do it.
I think they will. Captain Bradford will realize that our only hope is to render the island as nearly powerless as possible, and he will see instantly that you and I can move about in the island with greater freedom and less suspicion than would be allowed him.
It might work. We'll ask them anyhow. But remember this, if they say no, we'll find a way to go just the same.
Agreed, Jerry. We will, what you say, extract a rapid one.
You mean pull a fast one?
Exactly.
Ah, you're talking, Joan.
Oh, here are Mother and the captain.
Don't spring it up too soon now.
What's that, Jerry? You and Joan going to spring something on us?
Oh, maybe. You know, after a while.
Joan, dear, you and Jerry both look very guilty about something. You haven't been getting into trouble, have you?
Oh, no, Mother. We merely have a little something to tell you and the captain after a few minutes.
Well, I guess the mystery will keep. Just now, I've got to get a message to Johnson, and I've got to get it to him quick.
You see, Jerry, Tex has run a wire through the holes in the side of these boats and connected our transmitter to the aerial in the other boat.
Oh, swell, Tex. That ought to help a lot.
Yes, it will, but the batteries are nearly dead. I'm afraid to run the motors anymore for fear someone on the island will suspect something.
I think it is very dangerous, Captain, to try getting a message to Johnson. These Euclideans will surely understand what you are trying to do.
Don't you think, dear, that they were deceived about Johnson? That they believe Johnson came in here aboard his boat, don't they?
They do now, but it would take only a little suggestion to make them realize they had been tricked.
Hey, hold everything. I got an idea.
What is it, kid?
Well, it's pretty sure these Euclidean guys believe that McLeod is Johnson, all right?
Yes, Jerry. They believe that, as they had only heard his voice over the radio.
Then why not get Mac in here now? Let him send the message as Johnson, and that might help the idea along.
I'm afraid of that, Jerry.
Why, Pat?
Because they'd surely recognize the different voice when they heard it over the radio. Just now they believe Mac is Johnson because he's only spoken briefly to G47, pretended to have a sore throat then. But if he were to attempt to send a message... No, I think it'd do more harm than good.
You're right, Pat.
I'm sorry. Guess my idea wasn't so hot.
Never mind, Jerry. You will get another one someday.
Hey, I get 'em all the time.
Now, you two stop quarreling and give us a chance to send a message. Perhaps you'd better do it, Tex. You can work the initial code into it without writing it down. I'd have to scribble it out first.
Right. I'll see what I can do. Now, you can check this for me, Jerry.
Mm-hmm.
Copy what I sent. Then we'll see if I hit the code accurately and all, enough for Johnson to decipher it. I'm afraid if I write it out, it'll sound so cut and dried, anyone would know what I'm trying to do.
I'm ready. Go to it.
May I copy it also, Captain?
Sure, Joan, but you may find it a little fast when you're not used to it.
I will try and keep up with you.
Quiet now. Let Tex get his message over.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry to butt in, and I know that message is important. But I've got to say just one more thing.
All right, Jerry, but time's worth money now.
I know it, but I think you'll see where this is worth the time. Now, wouldn't it be better if you could get that message out without the Euclideans being able to intercept it? I mean, even if they could hear it, wouldn't it be better to know it was at least getting past the edge of the island?
Of course, Jerry, but that's impossible. All we can hope for is to get enough of the message outside the magnetic ring to do some good before they realize its value and stop our beam.
But suppose your beam is being stopped at all times. Then the Euclideans have your message. They may take their time in deciphering it, but long before dark, before you are ready to attempt the escape, they will know your plans and be ready to spoil them.
I know all that, Joan, but we've got to take the chance.
Oh, no, you don't, Tex. Look, if you let Joan and I try something...
That is right, Jerry. I feel this is the time to tell them.
Tell us what? Have you two a plan of real value?
We think it is, but you've got to let us tell you the whole thing before you say no.
Well, get on with it, son. If it sounds possible, we'll let you try it anyhow.
There, Jerry, you see? Now tell them about it.
Well, Joan and I figured we could get around a lot of places on the island easier than you two, because the Euclideans think Tex has got all the sense in this outfit.
Go on, Jerry.
And the first thing we need right now is to be sure of two things. First, that we can get a message to that boat Johnson's on and let him know we're going to make a break for it.
Right so far.
And also, we must make sure that no one on this island will be in a position to stop us when we take the boat out after dark tonight.
Well, of course, those things would be nice. It's rather foolish to talk about arranging it so easily.
Yes, I'm afraid you've taken on too big an order, Jerry.
Oh, no, sir, we haven't. Now, listen carefully to this. Joan knows a lot of the rooms in the island where we can talk without being heard on the rest of the island. And if we can make our way from one of these rooms to the other and take over control of each section we pass through, we can finally get the main control rooms and shut off all the electricity on the island. Then they can't make a move. And we can get our radio messages out first, then fix it so the boat can sail, and no one will ever know it till it's too late to stop us.
Why, Jerry, that's madness. You and Joan will most certainly do no such thing.
Not while I know it. Why, you kids wouldn't have a chance.
I think we would have a very good chance, Captain.
Oh, sure, Tex. Let us try it. Please. We can put it over. Please.
No, Tex, I won't permit it.
Neither will I. Why, you kids would just be getting started when one of those Euclideans would turn a ray gun on you. And when you woke up, you'd be prisoners in one of their submarine cells. Our escape would be hopeless, as we certainly wouldn't leave without you.
But what if Jerry and I were using the ray guns ourselves, and were very careful to let no one see us? What then?
Well, of course you might have a chance then, but where would you get the ray guns?
I have 2 of them.
Joan, you what?
You've got 2 of those things?
Sure she has. And they're the 5-minute kind, the 300-second ray, the Euclideans call them.
But how did you get them, dear? I thought the Euclideans guarded those guns with their lives.
When Jerry and I were in the laboratory and the gas fumes from the captain's formula put all the Euclideans to sleep, Jerry and I fell as if we were also overcome. And I took care to fall near the commander, almost on her, in fact. And when the others were all asleep and Jerry and I stood up to run out, I had both of the commander's ray guns hidden in my dress.
Joan, that's one of the finest things I ever heard of.
Joan, dear, your mother's so proud of you.
Didn't I tell you she was slick? And now what do you think of our chances?
You will surely allow us to go now, will you not?
Well, I don't know. The idea of you kids running around inside that island with a couple of those ray guns doesn't make much of a hit with me.
No, the guns make it even more dangerous. If you two were unarmed, you'd probably be taken without harm and merely confined in a cell. But with those things, you'd take chances and deliberately run into danger. No, I don't like it.
Oh, but gee, Mrs. Gregory, if Joan and I did all right about getting ourselves into that laboratory now and again, and if Joan's clever enough to get those guns, we ought to have a chance to show what we can do.
Yes, Mother. Jerry and I are quite capable of taking care of ourselves. And it should be our privilege to contribute at least a portion of the energy expended toward our ultimate freedom.
She means we ought to get a crack at helping things along.
Please, Captain Bradford, we will be very careful.
Oh, sure, Tex. Joan and I will watch every move, and before we get caught, we'll run right back to you. How's that?
Well, Pat,
You'd let them go if I would, wouldn't you, Tex?
Yes, dear, that's a big chance for them. If you and I fail to get off this island our own way, we've not only let them down, but we refuse them a chance to help themselves and all of us.
You're right, Tex. I'm only being a woman about it. It's a little hard for me to think of Joan taking such chances. For 14 years, I've searched the world over for her. Now, only a few days after I found her, I must let her go again. Go into danger because of me.
Oh, forget it, Mrs. Gregory. I'll take care of Joan. No matter what happens, I'll look out for her. And you and the captain can do a lot more good by being right here on this boat and having everything ready to shove off as soon as it gets dark.
All right, you and Kid. Though it seems funny for Pat and me to sit here and let you kids run these risks. Oh, I know it's a sensible thing to do.
Now, Captain Bradford, if you will give me the message you were going to send in the hope Johnson might hear it, I will copy it. And Jerry and I may get a chance to send it from the Euclidean control chamber.
Yeah, then we'd know it got out all right.
But wouldn't it be heard other places on the island?
Not if we were able to operate the controls ourselves. We could regulate the beam transmission apparatus so that the message could only be picked up by a radio receiver and not by the electric ears around the island.
You certainly know this island, Joan.
I have had 14 years in which to learn of it. Now, may I have the message, Captain?
Right, Joan. I'll give it to you slowly and you can copy it. And we'll see if the code comes out right.
You may speak as rapidly as you wish.
Do you know shorthand, Joan?
I do not understand what you mean. I merely make small marks for big words.
That's shorthand, all right. Come on, let's get going.
Right. Here it is. Call any station. Sign the Gregory yacht. Here is the message. Every indication, going half trouble. Possibly may feel, unwise even, leave free in this yacht. Many islanders, lying in forced sleep, don't indicate especially sincere enjoyment. Longer, unusual silence. Envelops are waiting now. Perhaps later advice. Nearer solution.
The first letter of each word will spell the message we want Johnson to get.
I have it translated. 8 p.m. Fuel 50 miles. Diesel. Use own plans.
If Johnson gets that, we're saved sure.
Johnson will get it.
Exploring tomorrow. And now here is your guide to these adventures of the mind, John Campbell, Jr.
There's the old saying, you'll do it and like it. And, of course, a man can, by physical force, make you do it. How would you like to have it so that you would like it, too? There are two basic ways that you can be happy in this world. One, of course, is to have everything you want in just the way you want it and never have any difficulties or troubles. This method is ideal, perhaps, but not very probable. Only one person in the world could have that, I guess. The other method, for absolute, complete happiness, would be to like anything that you've got, no matter what it was. The first approach is the one that makes sense, of course. That's the one we work for. We earn it. The other seems so much easier.
Stop barking. Stop barking. Stop barking. Oh, barking. Oh, no, that's all right, doggy. You bark as much as you want. Oh, how I wish I could get mad. In the old days, I'd have gone up that dog and told him to shut up, and that'd been that, but no more. Just as soon as I start to get good and sore about something, my mind kind of all creams up in the happiness effect, and I'm not sore anymore. And everybody here in Benton, I guess most everybody in the country is just like me. We've all had our brains written on, and we're all happy. Here I am, chief of police of Benton, and never a crime to speak of unless it's overtime air parking, and what kind of crime you call that? Henry! Oh, here he comes. Our own Doc Roy, the man responsible for all our happiness. He's supposed to be just about the best brain rider this side of the Mississippi. Henry! Slobbo, that's what I call him. Old wet lips, always do good and always grinning. But behind that grin, believe me, ice. If you need an enemy, just have Doc Royden for a friend.
Henry, didn't you hear me calling to you?
Oh, sorry, Doc. I guess I just kind of stand here thinking.
Happy thoughts, I hope.
Oh, sure, happy thoughts. Sure. What can I do for you, Doc?
A fellow just came into town, suspicious. Painting pictures out at Willow Hollow.
There's law against painting pictures at Willow Hollow?
Now, Henry, you know I got to keep my eyes on things. Wasn't for us brain writers, there'd be all kinds of irresponsibles roaming around. And these artists, they're the worst kind. You know that. You remember there was a day when you were headed for that kind of trouble?
Yeah, I remember. I was pretty good baritone, too. You sure brain wrote me out of that notion.
And aren't you better for it? You're a responsible citizen, happily married, well-adjusted, doing a job that's socially useful.
Yeah. What about this fella I'm supposed to investigate?
Name of Arnold Vivian.
And he's been painting up at Willow Hollow?
That's right. Doesn't do anything all day long but paint.
Single?
No wife, no children, no nothing. He just paints.
Well, remember, as long as he just paints, that's legal.
Now, Henry.
Now, don't Henry me, Doc. I'll look into it. That's all I can promise.
That's all I ask. Goodbye, Henry.
Yeah, that's mighty pretty landscape you're painting.
Why, thank you. Willow Hollow makes a mighty pretty landscape to paint.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, no, that's all right. I never mind a little talk when I'm painting. What can I do for you?
Your name Arnold Vivian?
That's right.
I'm Henry Horner, chief of police.
Nice to meet you. Chief of... What seems to be the trouble?
No trouble. I just out here to give you a kind of friendly warning.
About what?
This town of Benton you're in needs new young men, Arnold. If you should happen to get in any trouble here, we got a real fast brain writer who likes to straighten people out.
I don't get into trouble.
Well, just keep in mind we need workers these days. Like our brain writer would say, who needs pictures on canvas?
Who needs pictures on canvas? Why, Mr. Policeman, me. Maybe someday a few others will agree with me.
Well, maybe. I used to be a sort of artistic fella myself. Baritone concert style.
Yeah, I'll bet you're good on a police whistle, too. Don't worry about me, Mr. Horner. Just go back and tell your brain writer. Here's one traveling man he won't ever get to use his scalpel on.
Every Saturday night, Benton has a dance. I usually don't go near it myself because since the brain writing, everybody's pretty well adjusted and ain't any police-type trouble. This Saturday night, though, I dropped in toward the middle of the evening.
Hi, Mr. Horner.
Hi, hello, Arnold. Having a good time?
Heck yes. I've been dancing with all the girls. They love me, and I love them.
Staying out of trouble?
The only trouble I ever have is with pictures on canvas.
Well, don't go getting drunk and signing a job contract with Big Fellum at the Brickyard or with Tom Hart, or you'll forget pictures.
I'm immune to job contracts. Also, it may interest you to know that both Mr. Hart and Mr. Fellum each bought a painting for me tonight, paid cash on the barrel.
Well, that's a surprise. Well, I wonder what they're up to.
Well, why should they be up to anything? They just like my pictures. I guess they like me, too. They invited me to play poker with them after the dance tonight.
You turned them down, of course.
Heck no. I like taking money from people at poker.
Well, they're more likely to do the taking, and once you're broke, you'll just have to go to work.
Mr. Horner, when are you going to stop worrying about me? I told you I can take care of myself.
And he could, too. When the poker game broke up about 3 a.m., he was the winner. Everybody was griping, all except Doc Royden, who sat there, his close-set eyes glittering behind thick spectacles.
Imagine him taking me for $30. Imagine.
He knows people, he knows cards, he knows women. You're not going to brainwrite that boy.
You want to bet, Henry? You just want to make a little bet.
Whether it's a crowded highway or a narrow street, a smooth, even flow of traffic is one of the essentials of safe driving. Speeding is an obvious hazard, but it can also be suicide. Slowpoke driving is dangerous, too, because it causes rear-end collisions and tempts other motorists into taking deadly chances in passing. The eccentric behavior of the lane switcher, the driver who weaves in and out, often is the cause behind frightful smash-ups. So don't be a cause, and don't be a victim. Arrive alive.
There are two difficulties with the happiness idea. One of them is that actually we need to earn happiness to enjoy it, but we don't really want to work for it. The drug addict has happiness that he doesn't have to work for, really. The other difficulty is happiness in whose terms? Many times, the other fellow figures that you ought to be happy with what he's giving you.
That's right.
Henry, wake up and scoot over to Tony Holland's shack on the edge of the holler.
What's the matter, Doc?
There's been a crime. Get over here as fast as you can.
Somebody's got to keep an eye on our citizens at the police force.
Now, wait a minute.
Well, it's a good thing I was out this way.
Where's Tony?
I gave him a sleep injection. The poor fella, he was bashed on the head and all his savings were stolen. $302.
So can't you wake him up so he can tell me himself?
No need. I got all the information you'll want.
Who does he think did it?
He doesn't know, but I've got a good idea.
Yeah, like who?
Well, let's eliminate. It couldn't have been a passing tramp. Since brainwriting, there aren't any. And if you can't say it was anyone in town, they're all adjusted and wouldn't commit no crimes.
So?
There might be somebody around who wanders in the holler in the daytime, poking around and pretending to be what he ain't.
Well, it wasn't Arnold Vivian.
How do you know?
Because he's not that stupid. He knows he'd be the most likely suspect.
Maybe you'd just better check up on him, Henry.
Doc, you're the brainwriter. They called you in after the maladjusted guy's been caught, but I'm the cop. I run my investigations the way I want, and I'm not going to build a case against Arnold Vivian.
What are you going to do?
You write on brains. Try reading one.
So you figure Doc Royden's trying to frame me, huh?
Looks that way.
Well, it's ridiculous. I just took you people at poker for enough money to live for 3 weeks. Why should I take a chance on getting my head written on?
Have you missed any of your stuff?
Oh, just my pen and pencil set that I lost jumping around at the dance last night. Hey, wait a minute. That'd make a fine clue, wouldn't it, at the scene of the crime?
It sure would.
Well, was it found over there?
Not yet, but it will be. That's not important, though. What is important is this. Tony Holland has one peculiarity. He marks $20 bills. Figures he can follow how the money goes around town that way. Now, you don't draw any money from the local bank or in salary, so you just better not have any local $20 bills marked by Tony.
Hey, whose side are you on?
I used to sing baritone, remember?
Police, I like you.
Artist, I kind of like you, too.
Henry, look what we found at Tony's. Look here.
Yeah, I know. You found a clue, a pen or a pencil or both. We know all about it, Doc. I better run you in, at least until we can investigate further. It'll look better.
Why, certainly. No trouble at all, Mr. Horner. Glad to come along.
I pressed for a hearing right away, figuring that Arnold could be cleared and then leave town. He figured the same, that it wasn't healthy to hang around a place that needed new talent so bad. The hearing went real fine. From the start, I testified that Arnold had been fast asleep at the time the crime was committed, and I swore that the pen and pencil had been planted in Tony's house. Then suddenly they were talking about marked $20 bills.
Well, I couldn't possibly have any 20s, Judge. I just told you, there's absolutely no way that I could have... Unless... No. Let me out of here! Let me out of here! It's a frame-up! It's a frame-up, I tell you!
There is no tool that is either good or evil. There's nothing that in itself is good or bad. It's the way it's used. Logic is a wonderful thing, of great value to man and his progress. But in this trial here, you've seen what can be done with logic when someone is out to prove what he wants to prove and is not in the slightest interested in getting the truth.
Just one thing I want to say. I've seen a lot of raw deals, but the way you have it here with the singing cop to set it up is the slickest I ever saw. You win.
As chief of police, I had to be present at the brain writing. Doc's nurse gave Arnold the needle jab in the back of the neck, and after that he sat there like a stone man, able to hear but paralyzed. Now, Henry, there we are. Yes, the clay model is ready to take the impressions from Arnold's brain, so we'll have an exact duplicate. Now we put this cap on Arnold's head so the electronic fingers in it can do the measuring. That's a good boy. It won't take long now. Attach these wires to the automatic computer that we put above the clay model, and there we are. An exact model of Arnold's brain. All right, let's take a look. Oh, me, oh, my. There's a brain that needs writing. All right. Look here, you see that? Decayed memory spots. Artistic imagination, decayed sensory impressions, quite useless in an adjusted society. Now, we just take the scalpel and start doing away with these 6 synapses in the brain model, substituting good ones. Isn't that what we do, Henry? Yeah, that's what we do, all right. You erase the bad ones and carve some good ones, and then when his own brain gets the impression, the guy's adjusted from then on. Everybody does what they should, and they don't need no religion, no morals, no psychology, nothing. Just brain writing and the world's work gets done. Now, Henry, you always miss the most important part. After I get rid of the illogical synapses, I do one special cut with my stylus. There, I'm doing it now. And that's the happiness effect. Then your adjusted man not only does what he ought to, he's happy about it. There we are. Oh, that looks beautiful. Oh, that looks almost like the master brain. Let me get it and show it to you, Henry. It's real interesting. I'll be back in a second. You know, Arnold, I sure wish I could help you. Wait a minute. Maybe I can. I'm going to try to put back some of those synapses cut out. Here's the scalpel. Well, there's one he did. There's another. Maybe I can help you keep some of your artistic talent, Arnold. Yeah, here's a final one. And one day, Henry will be able to duplicate this master brain in everyone. It's brilliant. Take a look at it while I prepare for the transference from the clay model to Arnold's brain. It sure is fine looking, this master brain. Yes. Now, we're ready to go? Now, Henry, when I close this switch, the new brain shape will flash the signal to the cap on Arnold's head. The electronic fingers will dig in, and he'll have a new brain. Oh, I tell you, Henry, this is the real moment of birth. Most people are born wrong for this world. This is where they get right. All right, here we go. It's going to hurt a little. Well, Henry, we did it. We created a useful citizen. Well, 6 months went by, and it looked as if Doc was right. Arnold took a job, settled down, and got himself married, and then...
Henry, have you seen that picture exhibition up at the town hall?
Picture exhibition? No, Doc. What's it about?
Arnold, Vivian, the sneak pictures of me, holding me up to ridicule. I'll be the laughing stock of this town. You've got to stop it.
Well, there's nothing illegal about pictures, Doc, but come on, let's take a look. We went to the town hall, and there was the neatest collection of pictures you ever saw. Arnold had painted Doc Royden more than 50 times, and in each picture he caught the basic evil of the man. Doc was shown at the council meeting, at church, at the dance, his face revealing every grimace of deceit, power, lust, conniving. Every picture was titled The Happiness Effect, and everyone was marked sold already. I knew then and there that Doc Royden was finished in Benton.
Henry, please, I'm too old to start over in another town. I've got to stay in Benton. Please, Henry, get rid of those pictures.
Why, Doc, it sounds to me like you're maladjusted to your environment. You ought to be brain-ridden with a happiness.
Henry, man, I've been looking all over for you. I wanted to tell you thanks for using Doc's scalpel to save a piece of my talent.
Why, it was a pleasure, Arnold. Thanks to you for giving us back a little human dignity.
A lot of people tend to think that happiness is something you have. But I think it isn't. I think it's more in the nature of something you do. You know, the founders of our country were no fools. And in the Declaration of Independence, they said that men had certain inalienable rights, among which were the pursuit of happiness. No man has ever declared that happiness itself is a right of man. The pursuit of happiness is. It's worth working for.
Join us for a fascinating adventure in Exploring Tomorrow. Heard in our cast tonight were Mason Adams, Charlie Holmes, and Lawson Zerbe. Script was taken from a story by Raymond Banks. Produced and directed by Sanford Marshall here in New York. Bill Maher speaking.
We pause now for station identification.
Kellogg's Pep, the super delicious cereal, presents the adventures of Superman.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Yes, it's Superman who has found even graver trouble than he feared in the strange land of Illyria. We'll join him as Clark Kent in a moment. But right now, let's hear from Dan McCullough.
Say, gang, how many of you know what type of work the British Sunderland flying boat is chiefly used for? Well, I happen to know that its main job is reconnaissance and anti-submarine patrol. But every one of you could have answered that question just as easily as I did if you were lucky enough to get a Pep Prize Model Sunderland. You see, there's a really keen prize inside every single package of super delicious Kellogg's Pep these days. It's a colored cardboard model of an Allied warplane. Now, one of the models you can get is the British Sunderland. And right on the back of the model is a lot of valuable dope about that particular plane, as well as pointers on how to spot it. Altogether, there are 14 swell models you can get. 4 British planes, 2 Russian, and 8 American. And among them are famous planes like the Curtiss Helldiver and the P-40F Warhawk and the B-24 Liberator bomber. Best of all, gang, you don't have to send in a single penny to get all these nifty models, not even a buck stop. There's a plane right inside every single package of that super delicious breakfast cereal, Kellogg's Pep. So, gang, be sure your mother gets you a package of those crisp, golden whole wheat flakes tomorrow. See which model plane you find inside. And remember that name, Pep, P-E-P. Pep is made by Kellogg's in Battle Creek.
And now the adventures of Superman. Yesterday, as you remember, Clark Kent and Jimmy Olsen, while searching for Herkimer in the walled city of Illyria, heard Saki, Grand Master of the city, sentence the old man to immediate death by hanging in the public square. Jimmy wanted to interfere at once, but Kent felt that the people of Illyria should know once and for all how evil Saki really was. For only by seeing would they believe. Great crowds gathered in the huge square, and with unbelieving eyes watched the noose being placed around the neck of their venerated counselor. Never having learned to fight, being for centuries a peace-loving people, they can do nothing but helplessly stand and look on. But at the very moment Herkimer is about to die, Clark Kent decides the time has come to act. But as he moves forward toward the gallows, the harsh voice of a palace guard stops him.
Stand where you are, Skidder. Thou art a stranger in our midst. Let me by, please.
Jim, hurry. Saki's on the scaffold moving toward Hercules.
Keep away, Jim. Run. Do not move. Or I will run thee through with my sword. I tell you, Jim, wait for me at that hole in the wall.
No, they'll kill Hercules and you too, Mr.
Get out of here, Jim, and fast. It's the only way any of us can be saved. Then, do not move.
Mr. Kent.
Run, Jim, run. I let the stripling go, for when I am done with thee, will be time enough to seek him out.
Put your sword up, my friend.
I would as soon put it through thee. My simple heavens! The blade split in twain on your chest.
Too bad you had to spoil a good sword, but don't say I didn't warn you. Now, out of my way.
Tis an omen that evil has descended upon us.
There's the likeness of the poor fellow. Good thing, too. It'll help arouse the people, and I'll have a few seconds more to get out of these clothes. I was right. The guard screaming, Saki dead in his tracks. Just as he was about to kick the stool from under Hercules' feet. There we are. Now, Superman can take over. Up and away! I'll circle above the crowd. This time they'll be sure to know what's happening. Now, down to the gallows. Down! Away from that stool, Saki.
What devil art thou?
Away from that stool, I said.
Look, thou avenging angel, Saki runneth forth.
Let him run. I'll take care of him later. Gotta get you out of here first. Hold still now while I take this noose off your neck.
Oh, 'tis a relief. Was drawn very tight.
There we are. Now, don't be frightened, Herkimer. I'm going to fly away with you. Are you ready?
Verily, I am ready.
Hold on now.
Up and away!
That clearing below us looks like a good spot. Deep in the forest, not too near the wall. All right, down we go. Hang on. Down! There, we've landed. Out of breath, Herkimer?
Aye, a little.
And sit down in this tree stump and rest while I look for Jim.
Jim? 'Tis a name that is not known to me.
He's a young friend of mine who also came to help rescue you.
I did not know I had so many well-wishers. Where is he now?
Waiting for me just outside the walls of Illyria.
Then hasten to him, I beseech thee. Illyria is safe no longer for an honest man.
You'll be all right if I leave you here alone?
Aye. We are quite far removed from the city now. 'Tis men alone make evil. Here in the forest, all nature is my friend.
Well, I'll be back in a few minutes anyway.
Up and away!
That hole in the wall should be about here. Yes, there's Jim. Oh, good boy. He's lying flat on the ground, almost out of sight. Down!
Superman!
Oh, glad you saw me first, Jim. I didn't want to scare you.
I was just thinking about you, hoping you'd come. Nobody but you can save Hercules.
That's been done.
Oh, you mean...
Hercules is waiting for us in the forest.
Oh, gosh, that's wonderful. I was so scared Mr. Kent wouldn't be able to... Say, where is Mr. Kent? He was supposed to meet me here. Is he in the forest, too?
No, Hercules alone.
Oh, then where is Mr. Kent?
Don't you worry about him. Ken can take care of himself.
Oh, but when I left him, a palace guard was just going to run a sword through him.
He's all right, Jim. Now, come on, let's get going.
But he told me to wait here for him. Mr. Kent, I know.
No, his plans have changed. He'll expect to find you with Hercules.
Oh, okay, if you say so.
You all set?
Yep, I'm ready.
All right, then. Up
and away!
Going far, Superman?
Oh, almost there. Here we are. Down! Down!
Thou hast returned, Birdman.
And is this young stripling thou mentioned, Jim?
Yeah, that's me, Jim Olsen. I guess you're Herkimer.
Aye.
Superman saved you just in the nick of time, didn't he?
So that is what they call the Superman.
Well, yes.
Yeah, that's his name. Oh, I got something to show you, Herkimer. Got it in my pocket. Here, look.
Small red feather. It isn't like them. But nay, it cannot be.
Sure, it's Nokoma's feather.
Nakoma. Then thou hast seen her at Peyton.
I'll say we have. We found her on the ocean.
The heavens pour forth blessings. God has indeed been good to us.
It's true, Herkimer. Rev Peyton is safe and well.
Where is she now?
Oh, we left her with some friendly natives. They'll take care of her until we settle this business in Illyria.
Could you take me to her? My heart longs to see my beloved princess once again.
Oh, can you, Superman?
I don't see why not, but I have some important business to attend to first.
Oh, that's right. You've got to find Mr. Kent. Golly, I forgot about him. Well, where do you suppose he is?
I'm going back to Illyria to find out. You two wait here, and I'll see that Kent picks you up as soon as our business is finished.
Okay, Superman. But hurry, will you? I don't like the idea of his being in Illyria all by himself.
He'll be all right. Now, remember, don't move from this spot.
Aye, we will await thee here. Fare thee well.
So long. Now,
up
and away!
So, while Herkimer and Jimmy Olsen wait in the forest clearing, Superman flies swiftly back to Illyria. Something urgent and vital spurs him on. What does he intend to do? We'll know in just a moment, but first, let's stand by for a mighty good suggestion.
Gang, when you get something extra specially good for breakfast, doesn't it make you feel mighty well treated? Why, you bet it does. And say, that's just what happens when you're lucky enough to sit down to a big bowl full of golden, delicious Kellogg's Pep, served up with plenty of cool milk. You know, those crisp, flavorsome whole wheat flakes are just chock full of the real hearty goodness folks go for at breakfast time. But, gang, that's only half the story. There's a grand prize right inside every Kellogg's Pep package, too. Sure, it's a really keen cardboard model of an Allied warplane. Now, there are 14 models you can get altogether. 4 British, 2 Russian, and 8 American ones. And among them are exciting planes like the B-34 Ventura bomber, the British Hamden mine layer, the Russian yacht, and the Navy transport Excalibur. And best of all, gang, you don't have to send in a single penny for any of these grand planes. Not even a box top. There's a model right inside every single Pep package. So, gang, make sure your mother gets you a package of those golden, delicious whole wheat flakes tomorrow. See which model plane you find inside. And remember that name, Pep, P-E-P. Pep is made by Kellogg's in Battle Creek.
And now, back to the adventures of Superman. Flying swiftly over the treetops, Superman leaves behind him the forest clearing where Jim and Herkimer wait. Now, over the walls of Illyria, he circles the city until he spots Saki's house below. Apparently, this is where his urgent business is. Swiftly, he drops to the ground, enters the building, and makes his way to the end of the hall. His X-ray vision pierces the thickness of a heavy oak door.
There he is, in that room. And alone, too. Door's locked. Well, it won't be for long.
Who is there?
We'll find out in just a minute. Here goes. Greetings, Saki.
You, the one who flies.
Yes, I. Put those daggers down.
I will put them where they belong, in your heart. Go.
Not bad, Saki. Try the other one. Disappointed?
You are a devil. The blades do not pierce your body.
A very keen observation, Saki.
What do you want with me?
You'll find out soon enough.
Do not come any nearer.
Oh, still think you can give orders, eh? Well, I'm glad of one thing, anyway.
What are you talking about?
That you've dropped that thee and thou stuff. Now you sound like the person you really are, an educated Jap.
I will see that you suffer for this. I am still Grand Master of Illyria.
You're a Japanese agent and nothing more. Now that we understand each other, get back to that radio.
Radio? What radio?
Don't play dumb with me, Taki. I heard radio static when I was coming down the hall. You're trying to contact your parachutist, aren't you?
I don't know what you're talking about.
That smart little game is up, Saki. Where's that radio?
Let me go. You are choking me.
Where's the radio?
It's over there, in the desk.
Ah, hidden in the drawer, eh? So. All right, come on. You're going to broadcast to your henchmen. And remember, no tricks.
What do you want me to say?
Contact them first. Go ahead.
Illyria to field patrol. Illyria to field patrol. Come in.
Better answer or it'll go hard with you, Saki. Okay, switch and sending.
Now, ask them if their troops are assembled.
Illyria to field patrol. Are your troops in order? Come in.
Tell them no.
I will not.
Oh, yes, you will.
Please. Yes, I will kill him.
Go ahead.
Illyria to field patrol. Do not attack from all sides.
Tell them to collect in mass formation outside the gates, all in one spot. Go ahead.
Collect all troops in mass formation directly outside gates of Illyria. Is that all?
Yes.
Illyria to field patrol. That is all.
Well, that's that. Now, I don't think you'll have any more use for this radio, so...
You smash it to bits.
That's right. I wouldn't want you to be talking to your little playmates while I'm flying to meet them. Out of my way now, Saki. This time I'm after bigger game. Up with this window. Now.
Up, and away! Leaping out the window, Superman heads for the gates of Illyria, leaving Saki cringing behind him. On through the blue skies he speeds. Now he lands on a raised peak just outside the golden gates of the city. As hordes of bloodthirsty Japs press forward, destruction and conquest burning in their eyes. Off in the distance he can hear the thunder of their marching feet. And their cries of banzai, banzai ringing through the still air indicate that already they have the sweet taste of victory on their tongues. But standing between their lust for blood and the walls of Illyria is Superman. Astride the hill, his legs apart, his hands braced on his hips, a blue colossus with red cape streaming. He's brave and he's strong. But how will he be able to hold off an entire Japanese army single-handed? To find out, listen tomorrow to the next thrilling episode in The Adventures of Superman.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Follow the adventures of Superman. Brought to you every day, Monday through Friday, same time, same station, by the makers of that super delicious cereal, Kellogg's Pep. Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC publication. Kellogg's Pep, the super delicious cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Yes, it's Superman, the Man of Steel. And today, unarmed and alone, he prepares to defend the city of Illyria as a vast army of Japanese bear down on its gates. We'll take you to the scene in a moment. But right now, Dan McCullough wants to tell you about a swell idea he picked up from Jimmy Olsen.
That's right. The other day, Jimmy told me about a neat idea he and his gang had worked out for their pet model planes. So I thought you'd all like to know about it. Now, here's the idea. They've been making scrapbooks for each of their plane models as they get them, pasting up clippings and pictures about all these famous warplanes, so that by now they're getting to know quite a lot about aviation in general. And, gang, every single one of you can do that, too, provided you're a regular pep eater. Because, you see, right inside every single pep package is a model plane made of colored cardboard that's all ready for you to put together. And on the back of every model is a list of valuable pointers about that particular plane. Now, there are 14 different models you can get altogether. 2 Russian planes, 4 British, and 8 American. And best of all, gang, you don't have to send in a single penny for all these swell models. Not even a box top. There's a plane right inside every package of that super delicious breakfast cereal, Kellogg's Pep. So, gang, be sure your mother gets you a package of those crisp, golden whole wheat flakes tomorrow. See which plane model you find inside. And remember that name, Pep, P-E-P. Pep is made by Kellogg's in Battle Creek.
And now, the adventures of Superman. Yesterday, as you remember, Superman rescued Hercules from the gallows with the hangman's noose already tight about his neck, and Saki about to remove the stool from under the old man's feet. Flying high over the thunderstruck crowd in the public square, the Man of Steel deposited the aged counselor in a forest clearing, and then returned to find Jimmy Olsen, who was waiting outside the walls of Illyria. Giving the boy and the old man instructions to wait for him, Superman flew back to the city to settle the score with Saki. Surprising Saki at a secretly installed shortwave radio, he forced him to instruct the Japanese troops hidden in the surrounding forest to approach in one mass to the gates of Illyria. As we continue now, the scene is tense. Red cape streaming in the breeze. Superman stands alone at the gates of the city. Behind him, the people of Illyria huddle in fear as the thunder of marching feet and the harsh cries of Banzai herald the approach of the Jap horde.
I can see them now. Hundreds of them, all armed to the teeth. Stand back, Illyrians! Stand back and keep the gates closed! Stand back from the gates. No one will be harmed. That's fine. Now, here they come. Mass formation following orders like sheep. Those big rocks piled up here will come in handy. 2-ton hand grenades. All right, go ahead. Shout, Banzai. You won't do much shouting when I start dropping these boulders on you. Up for the biggest one. Did I say 2 tons? Must weigh 5. Now, into the air with it. Hook! And roll! That's it. Look up. Here it comes. Catch it. Now, back for another one. I'll keep this up as long as the rocks last. MacArthur's men can do it in Manila. I can do it here. Down! Down!
Swooping down for another huge boulder, Superman wages his own one-man bombing attack on the panic-stricken Japanese soldiers, while the whole population of Illyria swarms to the gates to witness the miracle that is saving their city. But meanwhile, Saki and a few of his traitorous henchmen had gathered in the Grand Palace. The traitorous Grand Master of Illyria is furious and desperate.
But who is this creature? Where did he come from?
We do not know, sire. He appeared as out of nowhere.
Did you not say that one of the guards saw 2 strangers, a man and a boy in the public square, behind the gallows?
That is so, sire.
Then where are they?
They disappeared.
So, they disappeared into nowhere, and this devil appeared out of nowhere. You are fools, all of you. Where are the other guards?
All but 2 have deserted these, Saki.
That is bad. It means these people are not as soft as I thought.
They say, too, in the city, that Hercules' courage, his faith, and the love of his people summoned the supernatural creature to help them.
Humbug and sentimental stuff. If they believe that, we will conquer them yet.
Thou hast planned?
Yes, I have planned. If we cannot have Illyria for air base for Japan, I will see to it that Illyria will be wiped from the face of the earth.
There is vengeance in thy heart, Saki. That I understand.
But you do not understand how I will carry it out. Is that it?
Aye. How wilt thou do it?
I will burn the city to the ground so that nothing will be left but fallen Usher.
The creature with the red cape who flies will stop thee?
He is too busy now. I will not interfere with his wiping out our band of men. Lives mean nothing to Japan. We will send others if these are killed. But in meantime, I will destroy that which he is trying to save. Come with me quickly.
So, while Superman still battles relentlessly against a swiftly diminishing army, Saki and the few henchmen who are still faithful to him light torches and proceed to set fire to the city of Illyria. Meanwhile, Hercamine and Jimmy wait impatiently in the forest clearing. For some time now, ominous sounds have been reaching them. Sounds they can neither identify nor understand.
You hear that, Hercules?
Aye, my son. Curious sounds fill the air. Mayhap 'tis thunder.
Sounds more like shots to me.
Those I know not of, but human cries are intermingled with it, too.
There's some kind of a fight going on in Illyria, Hercules. I'm sure of it.
'Tis not the appointed day for Saki's men to appear, and the people of Illyria have certainly never learned to fight.
Maybe so, but if something isn't going on, where's Superman and where's Clark Kent?
We must be patient, boy.
I don't want to be patient anymore. They might be in danger.
What wouldst thou do? Join the fray thyself?
Oh, I guess you're too old, but Hercules, if there's a fight and if Mr. Kent's in trouble, I gotta help. Don't you see, I just gotta.
I understand, my son. I, too, am loath to remain behind and let others fight my battles for me. But we may only add to the confusion.
Well, maybe you better stay here. That is, if you don't mind staying alone.
Thou art insistent, my boy. But thy tongue speaks to me of the eternal cry of youth. And though 'twas long ago, I, too, was young once.
Then you come with me?
Aye, we will set forth even now for Illyria. I shall lead the way. Come.
So, 2 staunch friends of the troubled country Illyria start their journey toward the walls of the city. The young and the old find new strength and new courage. And even further away, a frail girl, the Princess Rev Peyton, sitting comfortably in the hut of a tribe of friendly natives, feels an ominous warning in her heart. She hurries from her hut to that of her friend, the chief of the tribe.
May I speak with you, child?
Of course, my child. Seat yourself.
Nay, it's too urgent.
What has distressed you so?
I fear for my country. I fear for Herky. I fear for Sarah Clark. And the sister Kay.
They were expected back long ago.
Will thou help me find them?
But, Princess, it was understood you were to wait here.
Aye, that I know. But I am well rested now. Oh, 'tis not disobedience which spurs me on, but a desire to help my friends. They may be in trouble.
If they are, I will help.
Then thou wilt accompany me to Illyria?
I will order my strongest and swiftest runners to carry you on a litter, and I will go before.
Let us hasten then. Let us delay no longer.
At once, Princess. Hello, Melinda.
Excited and happy at the prospect of joining her friends, no matter how dangerous the situation may be for her, Bev Peyton makes swift preparation for her journey. In a little while, she, the chief, and 2 runners set forth for her beleaguered land. Meanwhile, Hercamine and Jim have reached that part of the wall outside Illyria where Superman had originally broken through.
There's a hole in the wall, Hercamine, that Mr. Ken and I first crawled through.
Aye, let us crawl through again. The noise and cries are thunderous now. From within, we can see better what goes on at the gate.
Okay, you go first.
But wait.
Well, what's the matter?
Someone approaches.
Where? I don't see anyone.
Behind us, outside the wall.
Lincoln Lizard. It's the chief of the headhunters.
Aye, and with him is Red Peyton, my princess, my little princess.
She shouldn't have come here. This is no place for a girl.
Curtain. Jane.
Hayden.
What has come to pass here? What is happening in Illyria?
We don't know ourselves. Whatever it is, it's something pretty terrible.
Can we climb these walls? Is it at all possible?
We don't have to. There's a hole here we can crawl through. Oh, but you stay outside, Red Peyton. Illyria's no place for you.
Nay, in my country's hour of need, I will not think of protecting myself.
My princess, I am proud of thee. My teachings have not fallen on barren ears.
Well, let's get going. You first, Red Peyton.
I am sorry. Now thou, Hercules.
Okay, go on, Chief. You first. Okay, here I come.
Merciful heaven.
Lincoln Lizard.
Nay, my eyes do deceive me.
Thunderstruck, our 3 friends catch their first glimpse of Superman's battle with the Japs. A sight that makes them doubt even their own eyes. How far has Superman succeeded in hurling back the foe? We'll return in a moment to find out. But right now, here's a question for you.
Say, gang, what's one of the first things you think of when you wake up in the morning? Well, I'm willing to bet that with most of you, it's breakfast. Sure. And right there is where I want to tip you off to something really super. It's that golden, delicious breakfast cereal, Kellogg's Pep. The treat that pops with practically everybody who tries it. You see, those crunchy, grand-tasting whole wheat flakes have lots of the hearty, flavorsome goodness you want at breakfast time. But that's not all. No, sir. There's an exciting prize right inside every single Pep package. A colored cardboard plane model that's just as easy as 1, 2, 3 to put together. What's more, there are 14 grand models you can get altogether. Famous planes like the British Handley Page Hendon and the C-69 Constellation and the Curtiss Helldiver. Best of all, gang, you don't have to send in a single penny to get all these grand models. Not even a box top. There's a plane right inside every single Pep package. So, gang, be sure your mother gets you a package of super delicious Pep tomorrow. See which model plane you find inside. And remember that name, Pep, P-E-P. Pep is made by Kellogg's in Battle Creek.
And now, back to the adventures of Superman. Only a moment ago, we left our friends Jimmy Olsen, Red Peyton, and Hercamine staring with unbelieving eyes as they behold the incredible feats being performed by Superman outside the gates of Illyria. Steadily and relentlessly, he has been fighting his lone battle against the conquering Japanese horde. He has thrown stones from the mountains, trees by their roots from the ground, and hurled them in the face of tanks and guns. Now he is finishing off the last of the enemy in hand-to-hand combat.
Look, he picked them off like they were flies.
It's unbelievable.
My heart swelleth up within me. For all along I knew that what he seemed would not triumph.
Wow, look at that boy one time. Hey, maybe I'd better go out and help him.
Nay, son.
But why not? I'm not scared. I can fight, too.
We need boots to protect us.
Oh, okay, if you put it that way. Hey, where's Mr. Kent? I don't see him around any place.
James, look. Look over there. Ladies are spouting from Socky's window.
From Socky's window?
But Lizzie, she's right. And from that house over there, too.
Aye, and that one there.
Oh, the area is going up in flames.
Mr. Kent, where is he?
Oh,
where is he?
We must find him.
I'll bet he went back to try and get Socky. He must be in that burning house. He'll be killed.
Don't wait.
My boy, he's clear of the building. The rascals are about to fall.
I don't care. I gotta find Mr. Kent. I gotta find him.
Deaf to the warnings of Verstappen and Herkimer, Jim rushes toward the now furiously flaming house. Helpless and aghast, they watch him stumble through the flaming door in search of Clark Kent, who, as we know, is not in the burning building. For as Superman, he is mopping up the last of the Japanese army. What will happen? How will Jim be saved from this new danger into which his young courage and loyalty to his friend has led him? Listen tomorrow for the exciting climax of this story. Tune in and follow The Adventures of Superman.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Follow the adventures of Superman. Brought to you every day, Monday through Friday, same time, same station, by the makers of that super delicious cereal, Kellogg's Pep. Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC publications. This is Mutual.
Kellogg's Pep, the build-up wheat cereal, invites you to rocket into the future with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet. Stand by to raise ship. Blast off. -5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
As roaring rockets blast off to distant planets and far-flung stars, we take you to the age of the conquest of space with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet. Blasting into deep space to the planet Terra in the star system of Alpha Centauri, the Space Cadets have made a startling discovery. A satellite of Terra that is composed of 3/4 solid copper. Now, as the converted space freighter Annie Jones rests on the precious moon, Tom, Roger, and Astro wait with rising excitement for their commanding officer, Major Connell, to brief them on the most gigantic project ever attempted by man, transporting an entire satellite from one star system to another.
Major Connell's been in contact with Space Academy for the past 4 days, Tom. Talking with every big-shot astrophysicist they have.
Yeah, I know, Roger. Finding this copper satellite is one of the big discoveries of space.
Yeah, I wonder what a thing like this is worth, Tom.
Well, I don't know, Astro, but it was enough to make Thurston and Lewis almost commit murder to keep the discovery to themselves.
They should have known Major Connell wouldn't let man nor beast take over his ship.
You're blasted right, Manning, and I won't allow a space-brained cadet to neglect a prisoner in my custody. Who's on prisoner to tail this watch?
Well, I am, sir.
I might have known. Cadet Manning. One of the first things an officer of the Solar Guard learns is to take care of the needs of his men and his prisoners before himself. Did you know that?
Yes, sir. I was just going to...
Then get below and see that Thurston has his rations. And to make sure that you remember the future, give him yours.
Give him mine?
Yes, Manning, yours. Maybe you'll think better on an empty stomach.
Yes, sir.
And all of you report to me on the control deck in 10 minutes for briefing. That's all.
Blast that character anyhow. Doesn't he ever give a guy a break?
You're lucky he didn't give you 10 demerits, Roger.
But now I have to go without a meal.
Oh, that's all right, Roger, old boy. You can live off the fat of your head.
Now, pay attention, boys, because I'm only going to say this once. As you know, The Solar Alliance copper supplies are so low that the discovery of this satellite is of utmost importance. Our job is getting it back to Earth.
Back to Earth?
Well, how can we get a satellite 10 miles in diameter through 25 billion miles of open space?
If you'd give the Major a chance, you Venusian clunk, he'll tell you.
Clunk, listen, you skinny radar.
Off that space gas.
Yes, sir. Aye, sir.
Now, to answer your question, Astro, getting it back is the trickiest part of the job.
Why not just dig out the copper and haul it back in spaceships, sir?
Too long and too costly, Corbett. We've got to take the whole thing, and we've got to do it fast. Now listen closely. This satellite, which I've named Terra Junior, is a captive of Terra, just as our moon is a captive of Earth. And Terra revolves around its sun, Alpha Centauri. Our problem will be to use Terra's orbital speed and Junior's orbital speed in combination. Time them so we can use them to spring Junior loose.
Well, how do we get the orbital speeds to help us, Major?
Remember when you were kids and you tied a rock on the end of a rope and swung it around your head?
Well, sure, sort of like a slingshot.
That's right, Corbett. Now, if you release the rope, the rock would fly in the direction it was headed when you let go.
I get it. Then the gravity of Terra is the rope holding the satellite, making it swing around.
And a reactant power unit could be the trigger to make it let go.
It's as simple as that, boys.
Well, how do we stop it after we get it rolling?
The chances of Junior hitting anything on the way home are so small it doesn't present a problem. So we just aim Junior for our solar system. Arrangements will then be made to steer it into the orbit around the sun.
Hey, that sounds pretty neat.
It is, but we only have 4 days, 5 hours, and 17 minutes to pull Junior out of Terra's grip and later the grip of Alpha Centauri. You boys will have to work like you've never worked before. You'll do things you never dreamed you could do. You'll work until your brains ache and your bodies scream. But when you've finished, you will have accomplished one of man's greatest challenges. You're going to do this because I know you can, and because I'm going to see that you do. Is that clear?
Yes,
right,
sir.
Captain? Now, between the 4 of us, we've got to send a hunk of copper 10 miles in diameter, hurtling through 25 billion miles of space. So let's get that ball rolling. Right now.
We'll return to the exciting adventures of Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, in just a moment. So stand by.
Tom Corbett says, eat Kellogg's Pep. Roger Manning says, eat Kellogg's Pep. Astro says, eat Kellogg's Pep. Yes, all the Space Cadets are passing the good word along to you. Eat Pep and taste that swell whole wheat and malt flavor. Eat Pep and get those essential vitamins B1 and D. Eat the cereal that gives you build-up food values for strong bones and tough muscles. Here's Astro to tell you in a special interview just why Kellogg's Pep is so important to the Space Cadets.
Spaceman, when Reveille sounds at Space Academy, things start happening mighty fast. The cadets are on the go every minute right up till taps. Plenty of Kellogg's Pep, first thing in the morning, helps give us the food power we need to travel at full space speed. Now, those vitamins are important, too. But most of all, that swell flavor is so downright good, it's just a plain pleasure to eat every bowlful of Kellogg's Pep.
Right, Astro. And every smart spaceman will take your tip about tomorrow morning. We'll all start our day the spaceman's way with a man-sized bowlful of Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P. Pep.
25 billion miles from Earth in the star system of Alpha Centauri, 3 space cadets and their commanding officer prepare for an almost impossible task, transporting a satellite through space toward Earth. Now, as Major Blastoff Connell roars, cajoles, and pleads with his young spacemen, they assemble the mass of information necessary for the big push through space.
I tried building that lead baffle for the uranium 5 times already, sir. I'm having trouble getting the amount of reactant power we need in a unit that small.
Maybe you're trying to make it too small, Astro. Remember, this unit has but one job, to start the reaction. When the U-235 gets hot enough, it'll start a reaction of the copper on Terra Junior and sustain itself. Try a smaller amount of reactant. But whatever you do, keep working. Only a day and a half left.
Aye, aye, sir, but I won't guarantee it.
I don't want your guarantee. I want that unit. Now build it.
There you are, Skipper. All set. An electronic fuse that'll set off the reactant mass for initial escape velocity. and it's delivered a day ahead of time.
Good work, Manning. Excellent.
It's nothing, Skipper.
Now I want to see how smart you really are.
Huh?
I want a communications unit we can plant on Tara Junior that'll send out a constant signal as long as it's in transit back to Earth.
In one day? Impossible, Skipper.
Cadet Manning, I didn't ask for your opinion. I asked for a signal unit.
But one day, sir, I can't. I know I can't.
Roger. Now, look, did I ever tell you that I think you have one of the finest brains for electronics I've ever known?
Thank you, sir. And come to think of it, I might be able to duplicate that new transmitter and then use some of that stuff Astro's got for power.
That's more like it. Get to it. Well, it looks like we're all set. Now, you all know your assignments. We'll take jet boats and go out in pairs, Corbett and myself, Manning and Astro. We'll set up the reaction explosives on Tara Junior at the points marked on your maps. When you've finished, set the fuses and return to the ship. But watch your timing. If we fail, it'll be more than a year before Junior will be in the same position again. How much time do we have left, Corbett?
6 hours and 17 minutes.
Not much, but enough. It shouldn't take more than 5 hours to set up the reaction units and get back to the ship to blast off. All clear?
Right, Astro.
All right, put your spacesuits and helmets on and move out. We're going to pitch the biggest ball in history, and it had better be a strike.
Give me the fuses, Roger. The reactor's all set.
Here, Astro. Don't forget to set it for maximum time. 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Hey, you're wrong, Roger. It's 3 hours and 15 minutes.
Listen, you ape, I built the thing. I'm telling you, it's 2 hours and 15 minutes.
But, Roger,
2 hours.
Okay, you ought to know. You made the fuses, but I still think you're wrong.
What's the time, Corbett?
Tara Junior gets a big jolt in exactly 1 hour and 40 seconds from now, sir.
Fine. That gives me just enough time to notify Space Academy to get set to start receiving Tara Junior's radio signal. You know what to do?
Well, I don't have to do anything, sir. Roger spliced in all the fuse circuits to this clock. In 1 hour and 10 seconds, she goes off automatically.
Good. Anything done with electronics and timed properly is better than manual operation. Less chance of human error. By the craters of Luna, what's that?
The explosions, sir. They went off ahead of time.
But you said we had plenty of time.
Oh, we did, sir.
Manning and Astro made a mistake.
We got it on the button, Astro, right on time. This baby's a perfect strike all the way home.
Manning, what time did you set the fuses for?
Why, 16 hours and 53 minutes, sir. Is there something wrong?
Yes, Manning, everything's wrong. You set the fuses an hour too soon. It should have been 17 hours, 53 minutes.
But
That's all right, Roger. We've all been working hard, and one little mistake is bound to show up in an operation like this. It's all my fault. I should have checked those fuses myself.
Well, does an hour too soon make much difference?
A lot of difference, Astro.
But how, sir?
It's like this, Corbett. I thought we had the explosions timed, so at the proper moment we'd pull Junior out of his orbit and send him into space. But by being an hour too soon, we send it into the sun instead.
But there must be something we can do to correct it, sir.
Not a thing, Corbett. Instead of supplying the Solar Alliance with copper, in another week, Tara Junior will be hardly more than a molten piece of space junk. Stand by to blast off. We're heading home. This mission's a failure.
Honest, Astro, I've never been more miserable in my life.
Don't let it get you down, Roger. The Major said it was a mistake anyone could make, and besides...
But have you seen the way he just talks to us these past 3 days? No yelling or blasting our ears off, no demerits, nothing. He just stays in his quarters.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I'd rather have him blowing his jets than the way he is now.
Tom must feel pretty rotten, too. I haven't seen much of him either.
Yeah, he's doing nothing but working. I don't think he's slept since we left.
That's all my fault. I'm nothing but a big mouth with an asteroid for a head.
Hey, where are you going?
I almost forgot. I got to give our prisoner a meal. The way I feel now, I'd like to shove it down his throat. All right, Thurston, come and get it.
Well. Where's the big man in spirit? Kinda got you boys down since that loudmouth Connell failed on your little mission, huh?
Listen, you space crawler, one more word and I'll come in there and pound that head of yours in a space
I
drum.
wish you'd try it, you little squirt. I'd break you in two.
Okay, pal, I'm gonna give you that chance.
Yeah, when?
Right now. Sorry about that teeth, Thurston. I forgot you had to eat.
It's a beautiful job of calculation, Corbett, but it's too risky.
I've already talked to Roger and Astro, sir, and we'd like to volunteer to try it.
That's right, sir. I'd like another chance at Tara Jr.
Oh, you would, huh, Manning? What happened to you? Was that a black eye you've got?
No, sir. I just bumped my head on the radar scope. Now, about Tara Jr.,
It's worth a try, isn't it, sir? Tom's idea sounds pretty good to me.
It is, but go over it again, Corbett.
Junior is falling into its sun at a speed of 22 miles a second right now. But we could land on it in a jet boat, set up more nuclear explosions to blast her out of the sun's grip and on our way to Earth. We wouldn't get as much speed as before, but we'd still save the copper.
Now, let's see. We could get back to Tara in 3 days and prepare the reactant and fuses on the way. We might be able to do it, Corbett.
Why is the time figured so close, Tom?
It has to be, Astro. We know the pull of the sun is so much, and the power of the jet boat is so much. When the sun's pull becomes greater than the escape speed of the jet boat, well, you just keep going into the sun. It'd take at least 3 men to set up the explosions in the amount of time we have, just 2 hours.
Well, one of us will have to stay behind.
Hey, not me. I'm going.
All right. Now, we'll draw numbers. 1, 2, 3, and 4. The man who draws number 4 stays.
Well, fair enough, sir.
Wait, I'll write them on some slips of paper. Okay, you pick, Astro.
Number 2, I go.
Roger.
Number 1, I go.
Tom?
Number 4, I stay.
That leaves me to go with Astro and Roger.
But, sir,
Never mind the buts. Manning, get me a course back to Tara Jr. Astro, stand by the power deck for course change. Tom, stand by the control deck. We're going back and snatch a hot copper filling right out of the Sun Star's teeth.
Attention, Space Freighter to Major Connell. 36 minutes to blast off. 36 minutes to blast off.
Oh, Corbett.
Thurston!
Take your hand off that wrench or I'll freeze you with this parallel wrench.
How in places did you get loose?
Your buddy, Manning, decided he wanted to paste my ears back, so I let him. He was so anxious to make me lose a few teeth, he didn't notice the spoon I kept.
Spoon?
Yeah, spoon for a few teeth, a good trade. I waited for your pals to leave the ship, and then I short-circuited the lock on the cell. Now get over to the controls. We're going back to Tara.
Tara? But Major Connell, Roger, and Astro are on that satellite. If I'm not around to pick them up, they'll fall into the sun.
Well, ain't that too bad? So they're gonna fry. But if you don't start this wagon up, you're going out the airlock and freeze. Now get to work.
We'll return to the exciting adventures of Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, in just a moment. So stand by.
Say, Spaceman, how are you coming with your collection of Space Cadet picture cutouts? You know, you can get as many as 4 different Space Academy favorites, full-length pictures of Astro, Roger, Tom Corbett, and Dr. Joan Dale. These picture cutouts are swell for making Space Cadet settings. Now, just imagine one of the exciting adventures that the Space Cadets have been on. You draw a picture of it, you put the cutouts right in the setting. Well, you can even make a stage and have the picture cutouts reenact your favorite Space Cadet adventures. If you haven't got Space Cadet picture cutouts yet, you want to start your collection right away. Ask your mom to get your regular-sized package of Kellogg's Pep. Look on the back of the package, and right there, you'll see your own Space Cadet cutout. It's a full-length picture made from an actual photograph. Each cutout shows you an official Space Academy uniform, too. Cut the picture out of the box, make a little stand for it, and you're all set for a Space Cadet adventure. At the same time, you'll be all set to dish out the best-tasting wheat flakes that ever got covered with milk and sugar. Pep gives you that tasty whole wheat and malt flavor that just tops everything. And remember, there's a Space Cadet picture cutout on the back of every regular-sized package of Pep. So don't delay. Ask for the Build-Up Wheat Cereal, Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P. Pep.
desperate attempt to save the copper satellite from falling into the sun, Roger, Astro, and Major Connell race against time to set up additional nuclear explosions to blast the priceless moon out of the deadly grip of Alpha Centauri. But they are unaware that Thurston has escaped from his cell and has forced Tom to fly the space freighter Annie Jones back to Tara.
Keep this space wagon driving, Corbett. Open those rockets wide.
Listen, Thurston, give the fellas a break. If I don't pick them up, they'll be killed.
Oh, ain't that just too bad?
Look, I promise nothing will happen to you. We'll let you go free.
Shut your mouth and concentrate on them controls. You and Major Connell and those other cadets are the only guys who have anything on me. Now, you don't think I'm going to let you stay alive, do you?
Why, you dirty, low-down space
Get
crawler.
back to those controls, Corbett, or I'll blast you with this ray and pitch you out of the airlock, so help me.
Okay, Thurston, you win.
That's better. Hey, what are you doing?
You want more speed, don't you?
Okay, but don't try any funny stuff.
I don't see how I can. You've got me nailed with that parallel right.
Where are you going?
Just have to adjust the reaction mixture for this speed.
Oh, yeah? Well, I happen to know you do that at the main panel. Get back.
Sure, Thurston, but not before I adjust something else.
Hey, what are you doing? I'm floating.
You're a spaceman. Let's see how you handle free fall.
Why, you little space pup, I'll freeze you stiff.
Try again, Thurston.
Hey, I'm going backward and I can't stop.
Sure, the recoil of your gun. Now I'll take over. This is what they call free fall wrestling, pal.
Let go.
Yeah, sure, after I do a little freezing of my own. Sweet dreams, pal. Now start praying I can pull the fellas off that satellite, because if I can't, you'll wind up frying in the sun with us.
There's only one answer, boys. Thurston's escaped and taken over the ship. I can't think of any other reason Tom would abandon us like this.
Guess you're right, sir. Boy, it's going to get pretty hot soon.
Annie Jones to Major Connell. Come in, Major. Roger. Astro, can you hear me?
Listen, sir, it's Tom. Look, there's the Annie Jones. It's headed this way.
By the craters of Luna, he's coming back.
Roger, Astro, someone come in.
Connell to Annie Jones. Corbett, what happened?
I haven't time to explain, sir. Blast off in your jet boat. I'll pick you up.
No use, Tom. We've used all our power.
Then stand by. I'm putting the Annie Jones on automatic and coming in for a landing.
No, Corbett. There's nothing you can do. We're too far gone into the sun's pull. You'll never blast off again.
I don't care if we all wind up cinders. I'm coming in.
Tom, unless Astro can build enough pressure in those cooling pumps to handle the emergency reactant fuel, we're done for. We'll never get off this moon.
Power deck to control deck.
Come in, Astro.
Almost ready, Major. Maximum pressure is 800. We're 778 now, sir.
Very well, Astro. Let it build up to an even 800 and blast at my command. Manning?
Here, sir.
Are we all clear?
All clear, sir.
Stand by the control deck, Tom. And if you've ever twisted those dials, twist them now.
Aye, aye, sir. Pressure up to 791. Give us the works, Astro. 796.
Stand by to fire all rockets.
Make it good, you Venusian clock. 799, sir. 800.
Fire all rockets!
Report from power deck, sir. Acceleration normal. We're out of the sun's gravity field.
And out of danger now. Corbett, you did a tremendous job.
You're the one who got us off, sir. I just followed orders.
All right, but the log will tell the whole story. And I might add, wipe out a number of those demerits.
Thank you, sir.
Major Connell, Major.
Yes, Manning?
I just took final observations on the copper satellite. She cleared the sun and is swinging wide around the other side, heading for our own solar system.
Well, looks like that's the icing on the cake, boys. Our mission is a complete success.
What do I do about that creep Thurston?
Nothing. He's in the brig, isn't he?
Well, not yet. I was too busy to lock him up.
It's a wonder he didn't start acting up again.
Oh, he did. But I quieted him down.
Oh, you did, huh?
Yes, sir. But I think maybe now he'd better be put in the brig. He's running out of teeth.
Don't miss the next action-packed adventure with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, on Tuesday, when the crew of the Polaris returns to deep space to explore a newly discovered planet and finds themselves Marooned with Death. Tune in, same time, same station on Tuesday for the next thrilling interplanetary adventure with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet.
Brought to you by Kellogg's Pep, the build-up wheat cereal.
Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, starring Frankie Thomas, can also be seen on television and appears in the comic sections of many of America's leading newspapers. Look for it daily and in weekend editions. Featured in the cast are Jan Merlin, Al Markham, and Louis Van Ruten. Today's program was written by Richard Jessup, directed by Drex Hines. Jackson Beck speaking.
Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret. Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret.
And what a secret! In Kellogg's Raisin Bran, the tasty raisins are dipped in honeycomb. That means plumper, more tender raisins along with delicious golden crisp bran flakes. Both fruit and cereal all in one box. And no other raisin bran but Kellogg's gives you the tender goodness of raisins dipped in honeycomb. That's Kellogg's secret. So for your breakfast, make sure you get Kellogg's because
Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret.
Are you upset with today's headlines? Worried about the high cost of living? Want to get away from it all?
CBS offers you Escape.
You are the friend of a man living in death, confidant of a ghoul, witness to a nameless terror. You are a guest in the House of Usher.
The Columbia Broadcasting System and its affiliated stations present Escape, produced and directed by William N. Robeson, and carefully plotted to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
Tonight, we escape to a gloom-shrouded moor and a house where dread holds sway, as Edgar Allan Poe recounts it in his famous story, The Fall of the House of Usher.
It is with some regret, but I believe advisable that I identify myself only as a friend of Roderick Usher. Certainly the last and perhaps the only friend of that unhappy man. Having only one sister, he was the last male descendant of the ancient house of Usher. Roderick had been one of my boon companions in boyhood, but many years had elapsed now since our last meeting. And so as I held his letter in my hand, not yet opening it, I reflected with no little sadness upon the devious fates that chart our courses and drive old friends away from one another. But then a sudden feverish and nostalgic curiosity laid hold of me, and with fingers made clumsy by their eagerness, I tore open the letter and read,
My dear friend, my need of you has so far outgrown my pride that I'm going to request a favor which I realize full well may involve considerable inconvenience to yourself. For some time past, I have been suffering from an acute bodily illness intensified by serious mental oppression, if I may so call it. A horror which looms over me, a horror grown so great I dare no longer face it alone. And so, in all humility, and for the sake of years gone by,
I beseech you to come to me at once, here to the family estate in the north. Should events conspire to prevent your coming, then only God may know the consequences. Your friend in desperation, Roderick Usher.
And so it happened that at the end of a dull, dark, and soundless day in the middle of October, I found myself as the shades of evening drew on, within view of the grim and melancholy House of Usher. I confess that the first sight of the house, the fungus-covered walls of stone thrusting their crumbling ramparts against the darkening sky, rising out of the sullen, sluggish waters of the black tarn at their base, the bleak and vacant windows staring blindly, the bone-white trunks of decaying trees, these things filled me with a nameless and desolate terror, so that I reined in my horse and sat trembling, half fearing to cross the wooden bridge that led over the waters of the moat and up to the entrance of the House of Usher. Then impatiently I shook off this strange feeling of dread, and was an instant later clattering over the wooden bridge and onto the courtyard. I dismounted quickly, tossed my reins to the silent lackey who approached, strode across the gravel and up to the massive wooden portal, the door of the House of Usher. Good afternoon. My name
I
is...
know. You're the friend of Master Roderick. Please come inside, sir.
Thank you. But may I inquire how it happens you know me?
You have been expected for some time, sir.
Yes, true. But also I'm a stranger to you and could be some other visitor.
That you could be anyone other than the friend whom Master Roderick expects, sir, would be impossible. You see, no one else would ever come to this house.
Then I followed his stealthy footsteps through many dark and intricate passages. My earlier foreboding heightened and was made fearful by the somber aspect of the hallways by which we passed. The many unused rooms reaching out with their vast emptiness like some hideous jungle creeper. But at length we stood before the door of the master's studio, and there the servant left me, departed and left me to go in alone. The man across the room, half reclining on the couch, his back turned toward me, did not hear the opening of the door. For the space of several heartbeats, I saw only the deathly pale and ghastly sunken features of a stranger. Then only with difficulty could I recognize, behind that mask, my boyhood friend. For surely, under light of heaven, no man had ever before so terribly altered in so brief a time as had Roderick Usher.
Oh, my friend, you've come at last. Thank God you did come.
Oh, Roderick, did you not know I would? Could you not be sure that no long years would ever dim the friendship we shared in youth?
So many things have dimmed. Ah, youth. It seems so long ago. But now you're here, and we'll find it, relive it all over again, every glorious moment of it. And all these shadows, all these gibbering phantoms that haunt me, they'll be driven out. And then the sun will shine again, and we'll be young again and relive...
Roderick!
Oh, but forgive me, my friend. My excessive joy at the sight of you after so many years drives me into a frenzy of talk. How many years has it... Oh, no matter. It is enough that you are here, and brought with you all the lost, all the happy days of my boyhood.
But I'd expected from your letter to find you in serious straits indeed. Instead, you seem in the best of spirits.
You have the right to know. But In all frankness, here in your presence, I find it difficult to credit importance to those things which only yesterday filled me with terror. True, I've been ill. A nervous affliction, something in the nature of a family weakness, probably. It has affected me with a morbid acuteness of the senses, such that quite often the least sounds and odors and colors become irritating beyond endurance. I've eaten but little, as you can see.
But surely you've retained the services of a physician.
A physician? Oh, yes, of course. He calls almost daily, though it is more often Madeline that he attends. You remember my twin sister, Madeline? For her, I fear more greatly than for myself. Even today, she's taken to her bed, and I have no doubt will never rise from it again.
Oh, a tragedy. The sympathies of my heart go out to you.
Oh, but leave it for the present. Leave it to dream of all those happy days we left so far behind. Everything will be different now that you're here. Do you remember when we were 12?
But the happy forgetfulness which Roderick found in my coming was short-lived, and in a few days he had sunk into a morose torpor, from which only occasionally with frantic difficulty could he reach the joy of our first few hours of meeting. More often his mental apathy was broken by bursts of vicious temper and violent ill humor. Fits I could only excuse on the basis of his illness. And that illness began in my mind to assume a most mysterious character. Being unable to divine its true nature from Roderick's hesitant offerings, I took the liberty of questioning the physician a few days later when I chanced to encounter him in a hallway.
Yes, she's resting as well as might be expected.
But she continues to decline. Is that not correct, Doctor?
That would seem to be the case.
And the malady, the illness which has stricken her, is it the same as that which affects her brother Roderick?
I may venture that it is.
Might I inquire the nature of this illness?
As to that, I am unable to say.
You imply, then, that I have no right to the information?
Not at all. I am confessing to you quite simply, sir. I do not know what afflicts Madeline and Roderick Usher.
And so a week passed. A week in which the sullen, leaden skies darkened into deeper oppressiveness, in which Roderick's deathly pallor and creeping mental dissolution grew more apparent. A week in which the monstrous atmosphere of this ancient mausoleum began to crawl insidiously within my own consciousness, stirring into life a formless, unknown dread. Then one evening, we were sitting in the vaulted studio, while the first shadows of night began to flow together into pools of darkness. Roderick had been unusually troubled during the day, and had been trying to find some solace by playing on the violin. Of a sudden, there came a knock upon the door.
Stop it! Stop that infernal pounding, do you hear? Do you wish to drive me completely mad? Open the door and come in, come in.
It's the doctor.
Well, what is it? What do you want?
Master Usher, I regret that I must say this, but it is my sad duty to inform you that your sister Madeline is no longer living.
Madeline? My sister? Then she's dead?
She breathes no more.
Dead? And perhaps, my dear doctor, you can tell me what caused her death.
Unfortunately, I can only take refuge in the term heart failure.
Heart failure? Yes. Of course. Very well, Doctor. If you'll be kind enough to wait, I'll come down directly and discuss the arrangement.
At your service. I bid you good afternoon, gentlemen.
Roderick, I assure you of my deepest sympathy.
You do. Your deepest sympathy. The doctor regrets his sad duty. Are you fools, both of you fools?
I don't understand.
Haven't you seen it yet? Can you not feel it about you? The horrid, monstrous, brooding spirit of this accursed house. Can't you hear its evil laughter as it lurks in the hallways and grows fat upon the soul? My dead sister.
Roderick.
Can't you see that it matters nothing to me that she's dead? That I myself walk but a few steps behind her into the same shadows of hell? Can't you sense those hideous tentacles even now reaching out for me? For me, who now the last living, if it be living, the last living descendant of the accursed house of Usher.
Such was the passing of Madeline Usher, once living, now dead. And her very death, untimely in its aspects, bore to my trembling soul a portent of events yet more hideous, more horrible, and yet to come. At a later hour of that same sad night, Roderick came into my chamber to voice an intention so morbidly unnatural that for the moment I could only feel that his tottering reason had at last failed him entirely.
Then you refuse?
But, Roderick, this is madness.
I tell you, before this night is over, the coffin body of my sister shall rest in the vault beneath this house, and if you will not help me, I shall do it myself.
But why?
I could not stand to think of her buried out there in the dark graveyard, alone among the dead.
Roderick, she too is dead.
It's fantastic how little we know of death or of life. The doctor says she no longer breathes.
She is dead.
She was so lovely, was my sister.
Roderick.
I must keep Madeline near me.
Nothing but evil would come of such an act.
I can trust no one. But you, not even physician himself. He hates us because he can't discover what it is that kills us. Even he might steal the body of my beloved sister, and he might learn our secret. You understand, don't you, my friend?
Yes, Roderick. Yes, I understand. And so it came about. Near midnight, we two alone made our way to an upper chamber of the house. And taking up the black coffin between us, in the shuddering light of candles, we walked the tortuous passageways, slowly descended the curving stairs of stone, passed beneath the moldy level of the earth, forced open a massive and age-rusted door of iron, and stood at last, with our ghastly burden, in a subterranean, dank and musty crypt, underneath the house of Usher.
Over here, my friend, on these trestles. Now, a trifle higher with the head. There. Oh, may you sleep in peace and dream, sweet sister, from I who tread the same path soft behind you.
Come, Roderick. The thing is done.
Oh, wait. Stay a moment. We've not yet affixed the coffin lid. See? I've left it loose so it can be turned back.
No, I beg you.
A last farewell, no more. Look. Is she not beautiful?
Yes, she was very beautiful.
Was? Yes, of course. The look of her confused me. But do you not see it, too? The warm glow of the cheeks, the eyes shut softly, those lips half parted. Does it not seem that she may rise up and speak to us at any moment?
This gruesome place inspires those morbid fancies.
Morbid fancies? But now dead she seems to live, and living seems already dead.
Man, you seek out madness. You court it with your very thoughts.
And if I do, what matters? What value can there be in reason without the hope of life? Dead, you say to me. She is dead. On what certainty? Why not with equal reason say instead she lives? And that I, the last of Usher, am the one who is already dead.
I prevailed upon my friend at last to leave that mournful place. And so with grim finality we secured the ebon lid, took up our flickering candles, and departed from the crypt, leaving it alone with its darkness and death. The ponderous portal closed behind us, and then my soul for one brief instant felt the dread and awful meaning of eternity. There followed then a week of such dreary gloom and melancholy that my own spirit quavered at the menace of the nameless thing enshadowed in that house. By perceptible degrees, the living soul of Roderick Usher flickered lower. More ghastly grew his pallor, more tremulous the extremity of his terror. The 8th day following the death of Lady Madeline fell upon the last day of grim and gray October, and brought with it, as the curtains of night descended, the fitful breath of a rising tempest, uneasy gusts of sodden rain, and the sound of sullen thunderous rumbles born of the dim flares of sheet lightning somewhere behind the lowering pall. I retired at a late hour, but found sleep impossible. At length, overpowered by some strange presentiment of evil, I found my reposeful inaction no longer endurable. And so I arose, threw on my clothes in haste, and fell to pacing the floor of my darkened chamber. Then in one instant, a soft sound in the blackness froze my steps in paralysis of terror. The latch of my chamber door was being lifted from without. Was it? Was it, I say?
It is I, Roderick.
Oh, Roderick. What are you doing up and about at this hour, in pitch blackness? Wait, let me light the candles.
No, I am quite used to darkness. I heard your footsteps and knew that you must be awake, even as I was. But can it be that you've not seen it?
I don't understand you. I've seen nothing.
Then stay. You shall see it, even as I've seen it for these past 2 hours. Wait. I'll throw open the casement window. There. Look!
It was indeed a tempestuous yet sternly beautiful night, and one wildly singular in its terror and in its beauty. The exceeding density of the clouds which hung so low as to press upon the turrets of the house did not prevent our perceiving the velocity with which they flew careening from all points against one another. We had no glimpse of the moon or stars, but terrible to behold, the under surfaces of the huge cloud masses, as well as all terrestrial objects immediately around us, were glowing in the unnatural light of a faintly luminous and clearly visible phosphorescence, which hung like a shroud about the mansion itself.
You see, my friend, tonight the thing grows bolder, gathers strength from the storm and from the dead soul it's eaten.
No, Roderick, you must not look at this. Here, I shall close this window and pull these curtains. And now, candlelight. Such darkness is the very mother of evil fear. There. Now come, sit here. Suppose I read aloud from some book or another.
As you wish.
I presume it matters little which. Oh, here. There is a volume of The Mad Tryst by Canning. Will it serve?
As you said, it matters little.
I've always found the scene to be quite entertaining, wherein Ethelred dreams of fighting a dragon. Now, let's see. Oh, yes. Here it is. And so Ethelred waited no longer to hold parley with the hermit who mocked him from inside the hut, but feeling the rain upon his back and fearing the rising of the tempest, uplifted his axe and quickly made a hole in the plankings of the door for his gauntleted hand. And now, pulling sturdily, he so cracked and ripped all asunder that the noise of the dry and hollow-sounding wood alarmed and reverberated throughout the forest.
Why do you stop?
Why, that's strange. I fancied I just heard the very sound I read about.
Let us say it was caused by the storm. Pray continue.
Oh, yes, the storm. Of course. But Ethelred, upon entering the door, was amazed to perceive no sign of the evil hermit, but instead a dragon of prodigious and scaly demeanor, which sat on guard before a shield of shining brass. And Ethelred uplifted his axe and struck the head of the dragon, which fell before him with a shriek so horrid and harsh, like whereof was never before. What sound is that?
Sound? The shriek of a dragon, my friend. Read on.
Very well. And now the champion, bethinking himself of the shield of brass, approached across the silver floor to where the shield hung upon the wall. But the shield, not waiting for his coming, loosed and fell upon the silver floor with a mighty great... Roderick, I tell you something moves within this house. That sound, it reverberated through the very walls. Can you tell me now you did not hear it?
Hear it now? Oh, yes, I hear it and have heard it. Long moments, hours, many days have I heard it. Yet I dared not speak. But why? Do you not know we put her living in the tomb? I tell you now, I heard her first feeble movements in the coffin many, many days ago, and I felt then it mattered little. But now she comes to upbraid me for my haste. And that last dread sound, yes, I heard it, the opening of a metal door to the crypt beneath the house. Now she comes here. Have I not heard her footsteps on the stair? Do I not distinguish the heavy and horrible beating of her heart? Madman that I am, I tell you that she now stands without that door. But even now she opens it.
There in the flickering light of candles, in the gloom and curtained doorway, stood the shrouded body of Lady Madeline. For one shuddering instant she swayed there. Then as Roderick uttered a single piteous cry, she fell upon him in violent and now final death agonies, and bore him to the floor, a corpse. From that chamber and from that mansion, I fled aghast out the massive portal over the causeway into the night. Suddenly there shot along the path a wild light, and I looked back in heightened terror, for the vast house and its shadows were alone behind me. The baleful gleam came from the setting full and blood-red moon, which now shone vividly through a widening crack in the walls of the house itself, and even as I gazed, its vision opened rapidly. There came a fierce breath of the tempest. The entire lunar orb burst at once upon my sight. My brain reeled as I saw the mighty walls rushing asunder. There came a long, tumultuous, shouting sound like the voice of 1,000 waters. And the dark, deep tarn at my feet close sullenly and silently forever over the pitiful ruins of the ancient house of Usher.
Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson, and tonight brought you The Fall of the House of Usher by Edgar Allan Poe. Adapted for radio by Les Crutchfield, with Paul Frees as the narrator, Ramsey Hill as Roderick Usher, and Sheridan Hall as the physician. The special musical score was conceived and conducted by Cy Feuer. Next week...
You are the victim of a poorer man, pursued from the west coast of Africa to the west end of London by a dead man's head, which grins at you upside down.
Next week, Escape, with H.G. Wells' gripping story, Pollock and the Poorer Man. Good night, then, until this same time next week, when CBS again offers you Escape. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Wheat checks, rice checks, and good hot roastin' present Space Patrol! High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol! In today's transcribed Space Patrol adventure, Buzz and Happy are trying to make their way through a strange valley filled with weird, poisonous plants. Suddenly, Happy trips and falls.
Commander, something's got my foot. It's the vines. They're drawing tight like rope.
They're winding around me, too.
I can't get them untangled.
Maybe we can cut them loose.
Yeah. It's grabbed my arm. I can't move, and the leaves have got suckers on them.
Hap, we've got to get loose. These vines are man-eaters.
We'll return in just a moment with today's exciting Space Patrol adventure, The Valley of Dread. Hi, Space Patrollers, you hear that? That's the Martian Mauler, the inter-universal boxing champ from Mars. He's practicing his Sunday punch. Superpower? Man, he's got it. Wow, that's the Terra State All-Star halfback, kicking that ball right over the goalpost of Terra City Stadium. Superpower, he's got it too. So, gang, to pack a Sunday punch like the Mauler, to kick a ball for extra punch like a football star, it takes lots of training and practicing. But one thing for sure, they both had their bite-sized checks today. Now, how about you? Did you start off your day with a big bowl full of rice checks or wheat checks? Delicious? Mmm. Terrific tasting? You bet. Right down to the very last crisp bite. And no other cereal, flaked or puffed, gives you so much nourishment in such concentrated bite-sized form. Yes, sir, gang. You're right up there on the ball, ready for anything when you start off your day with rice checks or wheat checks. So for a super-powered punch like this, and a super-powered kick like this, start your day the bite-sized checks way. Rice checks, wheat checks. And now, today's Space Patrol adventure, The Valley of Dread. Far out, beyond the orbit of Pluto, a giant Space Patrol construction ship hovers in space. Scores of engineers and skilled workmen in spacesuits swarm over a nearby object that appears to be a meteor. As they work with grim haste, a Space Patrol officer inside the construction ship tensely watches a bank of viewscope screens focused in the direction of Planet X, remote planetary stronghold of the ruthless Prince Baccarati. At this moment, Commander Corey and Cadet Happy are aboard the Terra 5, rushing toward the construction ship.
I want to avoid any space-phone contact between us and the construction ship in case Baccarati's monitoring our frequency. So let's go over each step of our procedure so there won't be any slip-ups.
Yes, sir. First, we approach the construction ship on the starboard side, and that's where the dummy meteor is.
Right.
At 3 Tomo light flashes from the construction ship, we leave the Terra 5 in our spacesuit, jetpack to the meteor, and board it. Exactly 15 minutes later, we stick on the rocket to the dummy meteor and head for Planet X.
Check. Now look at this chart of Planet X.
Yes, sir.
Here's our ultimate objective, this warning tower. And here, 200 miles to the south, is where we land.
Too bad we can't plunk the meteor down closer to the tower.
And there's a good reason for that. To get these aerial maps of the region around the tower, we had to send several fake meteors into that region. Baccarati might wonder why meteors had a preference for that particular section of the planet.
Yeah, but none of our meteors landed, sir. They were automatically blown up after they transmitted the viewscope pictures back to the construction ship.
Well, that's right, Hackett. Remember this. That tower is going to relay our meteor image to Baccarati's castle on the other side of the planet. Now, what's Baccarati going to think if a meteor suddenly checks its speed and makes a gentle landing?
Oh, I see. Yeah, he'll know there's a spaceship inside the meteor shell.
Exactly. But by landing far away from the tower, we'll be below the horizon, and we can cut on our landing rockets in time to avoid a crash. But with that small amphib tank we'll be carrying in the fake meteor, it won't take us long to reach the tower and put it out of commission.
When we space patrol our ship, they zoom in and rescue those 130 men from Baccarati's work camp east of the tower.
It's our job to put that tower out of business. Otherwise, the rescue ships will be wiped out before they get near Planet X. All right, Happy. Get our spacesuits out of the locker, and we'll be alongside the construction ship in 3 minutes.
Meantime, in his huge, gaudy castle on Planet X, Prince Baccarati paces the floor and berates his chief advisor, Dr. Malengro, whose scientific knowledge is being used by the Prince in his attempts to conquer the United Planets.
Just look at these production figures, Malengro. We're 8 spaceships behind schedule. I ordered a speed up, didn't I?
Yes, Your Highness.
If we are going to attack the United Planets, we got to have ships. Isn't that right?
Absolutely, Your Highness.
Then why don't I get ships? Tell me that.
First, the illustrious one. There's the shortage of material. We can't make endurium for the ships unless we have Arctite. And as you know, Arctite is very difficult to obtain here.
Excuses. I don't want excuses. I want results. Ships, weapons. I want to drive Commander Corey out of the universe.
If I may remind you, Your Highness, the responsibility for obtaining Arctite is in the hands of Captain Decker.
I'm aware of that. I sent for Decker. He should be here shortly.
But I thought he was supervising operations at the Arctite mines near the Valley of Dread.
I ordered him back to the castle. Yes? Oh, that's you, Decker.
I eagerly await your command, noble prince.
My ship factory is complaining of the shortage of Arctite. That's your responsibility, Captain Decker.
Yes, Your Highness, but I'm short-handed.
Short-handed? You got 130 men, all trained personnel, plus several hundred natives.
Only half of them are able to work. The climate in that part of the planet is very bad, Your Highness. Most of the men are down with fever. Suppose we took some other planets, that is. The natives are standing up fairly well with a little encouragement from a lash.
Well, then use the lash on the others. Keep driving them.
Yes, Your Highness. Oh, incidentally, I have an object here that might be of interest to you. One of the natives found it near the mining area.
A piece of rock? Why would I be interested in that?
Obviously, it's only a fragment of a meteor.
That's what I thought at first, till I turned it over. You'll notice that the opposite side is smooth and slightly curved.
It looks like metal. Processed metal.
Exactly. We've noticed a few meteors exploding high in the atmosphere recently. This one apparently was hollow.
Hollow meteor? That's impossible. This is obviously part of a constructed object.
A bomb, perhaps? The Space Patrol may be bombarding your planet, Your Highness.
Why would they bombard that region? I tell you what it is. This is a fragment of a robot spy. Corey's sending instruments into our atmosphere inside space meteors. He's mapping the planet, Captain Decker.
There must be more of these fragments out there.
Possibly, but they'd be very difficult to find.
Well, then send the natives out to search the entire area. Captain, I'm going back to the Arctic mines with you.
Very good, sir. My atmosphere ship is ready.
Lengo, you're in charge here while I'm gone. I'll keep in touch with you.
Very well, Your Highness.
Come on, Jacker. I'll show you how to get work out of those loafers at the mine.
Far out in space, an object that appears to be a meteor hurtles in free fall toward Planet X. But beneath the jagged surface of the object is a compact, specially designed spaceship. Cramped in the control compartment, Buzz and Happy watch the round planet loom ever larger. It seems to rush toward them at constantly increasing speed. The two space patrolmen wait tensely, watching the instrument panel as the needle creeps toward a red line on the dial.
A few more seconds, Happy.
Yes, sir. What's that red light that just flashed?
It means that the outer surface of the ship is being heated to incandescence.
Oh, constriction of the air. We're in the atmosphere of Planet X.
Uh-huh. By the time we cut on our retarding rockets, we'll be making quite a flash in the sky. The acceleration will be terrific, Hap. We'll probably black out, but don't worry. The landing will be automatic. Stand by to fire rockets.
Standing by, sir.
10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, ready, fire rockets.
They're taking hold. Looks like we're going to make it.
You okay, Happy?
Or I will be when my stomach settles back down where it belongs.
Rough.
Well, I'd say it was a gentle landing for a meteor, but a rugged one for a spaceship.
I'll release the aft hatch so we can get the amphib tank in. All right. Let's go back aft and get into the tank.
On through the dark night of Planet X, Commander Corey and Cadet Happy take turns at the controls of the amphib tank, crossing the treacherous terrain of the unknown planet. The aerial maps, pieced together from viewscope pictures flashed by the pseudo-meteor robot spies, are of little help to the ground-crawling tank. Still, mile by mile, Buzz and Happy approach their objective, the tall warning tower that automatically relays viewscope images of trespassers in the sky over this part of Planet X. As the gray dawn grows over the Valley of Dread, an atmosphere ship flies low in ever-widening circles around the Arctic mines, where men abducted from the United Planets are forced to toil. In the ship are Prince Baccarati and his prison camp commandant, Captain Jecker.
That confoundedness. I can't see a thing down there.
I'll put on the infrared scanner, Your Highness. Is that better?
Yes, but I still can see through that vegetation. Can't you fly lower?
Scan more territory from this height. But actually, I doubt that you can see those men who escaped.
I want them found and brought back.
There were only 3 of them, Your Highness. They can't survive long in the Valley of Dread.
That's exactly why I want them found. We need every able-bodied man we can find. And if they are clever and strong enough to escape, they're strong enough to work in the mine.
Yes, Your Highness.
I'm holding you personally responsible for their escape. If another such incident occurs...
Excuse me, sir. But I saw something move over there on the ridge.
On the ridge? Why, that's miles from the camp. They couldn't get that far in a single night.
Your Highness. A large animal looking. No, it's a vehicle, a tank.
You're right. Someone has landed on the planet.
I don't see how that's possible. The warning system would have detected any spaceship.
You believe your own eyes, don't you? There is a tank down there. Isn't there?
Yes, Your Highness.
It's an invader, and it must be destroyed. Captain, are there bombs aboard the ship?
Yes, sir. 3 small cosmic torpedoes.
Then use them. Destroy that tank. It isn't much farther, Commander. I can see the warning tower from here.
The first chance we get, work down into the valley.
One of the low probe beams from that tower might pick up a moving object as large as this tank.
Yep. We'll have to keep on the ridge for another quarter of a mile, Commander. We'll drop two people on here for a safe descent.
That's right, Hap.
Hey, the ridge blew up right in front of us.
Keep going, but dodge that crater.
Yes, sir.
There's an atmosphere ship right over us.
One of Baccarati of all the rotten luck. Wow. That was close.
Hold it, Hap. Hold it on the ridge. You're slipping over the edge.
The dirt's giving way from under us, Commander. I can't control it. We're going over.
They'll never get out of that tank alive. Excellent, Captain, excellent. And if the Craig doesn't finish them, we can count on some able assistance from whom, Your Highness? The creatures that inhabit the Valley of Dread.
We'll return to Space Patrol in just a moment. Gang, here's a report on America's ready-for-anything jet plane, the most heavily armed fighter interceptor in the U.S., the Air Force Scorpion F-89D, produced by Northrop Aircraft, Hawthorne, California. And in just one moment, you'll hear from Bob Love, test pilot on the Scorpion. Hear that? That's music to Bob Love. It's the roar of the Scorpion as he prepares to take it up. He snaps a salute from the cockpit. And now Bob is set once again to face the hazards of his tough and exacting job in the sky. The Scorpion takes to the air like magic. It's a giant ship, a monster bird of the sky, weighing 20 tons, with a length of 53 feet, a wingspan of 56. And what a fighter! Giant pods on the wingtips carry a terrific barrage of rocket firepower. Speed of the Scorpion, over 600 miles per hour. Gang, I wish you were here to see how Bob Love strides across the airfield after a grueling test flight. And just a short rest in the ready room, and he's all set to go up again. Now, for someone who depends on so much energy, it's no surprise to find that Bob Love is a rice checks and wheat checks man. Here's what he has to say about it.
You know, a fella has to be in top condition to test fly a fast aircraft such as the Scorpion. And that's why I always make it a rule to sleep well and eat well.
So, for breakfast, I pick a cereal like Rice Chex or Wheat Chex. They're chock full of energy and really taste good. You'll like them.
Gang, pick your cereals the way Bob Love and countless other rugged test pilots do. Pick a cereal loaded with energy, loaded with flavor. Rice Chex, Wheat Chex. No other cereal, puffed or flaked, contains so much nourishment in such concentrated bite-sized form. And now, back to our Space Patrol adventure, the Valley of Dread. A system of warning towers on Planet X enables Prince Baccarati to detect the approach of spaceships. However, Commander Corey and Cadet Happy succeeded in landing on the planet without detection through a dangerous space flight in a ship designed to simulate a meteor. Boarding an amphib tank carried in the ship, they headed for the warning tower to destroy it. But Baccarati, in an atmosphere ship searching for escaped prisoners, saw the tank and ordered his assistant, Captain Jecker, to bomb it. A blast toppled the tank off a ridge and down a steep mountain into the Valley of Dread. Now, bruised and battered, Buzz and Happy are forcing their way out of the wrecked tank.
Any bones broken, Hap?
No, sir. How about you?
We're unable to move around. It is more than I can say for our tank. I guess we'll set our schedule back several hours, Hap. It's going to take us quite a while to reach that warning tower on foot.
Well, what's the shortest way? I'm sort of turned around after that spill down the mountain.
Across the valley. By the looks of it, it's going to be rough going.
Yeah.
Bring your Atomo light and a miniature spacerphone.
Yeah, I've got them in my belt, sir. Here's your ray gun, Commander. Yeah. Say, how about the shock rifle? The 10 kilovolt job. It's pretty heavy for a long pipe.
Oh. What were you saying, Hap?
I guess the shock rifle isn't so heavy after all.
Bring it. Let's get through this valley while it's still daylight, if we can.
Meantime, in Captain Checker's office of the Arctite mine, Prince Baccarati sits at the spaceophone talking to Dr. Malengro back at Baccarati's castle on the other side of Planet X.
I don't want any guesswork, Malengro. Are you sure there was a man on duty at the view scope every second?
I am positive, Your Highness.
There have been no spaceships sighted anywhere near the plant. All the warning towers are working perfectly.
Then that tank Jekyll and I destroyed must have come from one of the factories on the other side of the planet. Check immediately and see if a tank is missing.
Yes, Your Highness.
And order all the guards to watch for attempted breaks. We've lost 3 prisoners here at the mine.
Most regrettable, Your Highness.
Jekyll just came in. I've got to talk to him. I'll contact you later, Malengo. Now, Captain, what is it?
Your Highness, my men have captured one of the prisoners.
One of the prisoners? There were 3.
The other 2 are still missing. But we'll get them, sir.
Yeah. And the man who was captured, is he back on the job?
He's unable to work. He's very sick.
He's paying you for fools. Take me to this man. I'll make him glad to go back to work.
Happy make their way across the Valley of Dread, hacking their way through tangled vines, brushing against plants whose spore pods burst, filling the air with a choking, evil-smelling dust. But still they press on toward the tower that must be destroyed if Space Patrol ships are to land on Planet X.
I don't want to spend the night in this valley, so I'll have to put on some extra effort.
Suits me. Uh-oh. Is that a hallucination? Or is it an animal?
If we both see it, it's no hallucination. Stand perfectly still.
Where did it come from? What is it?
Whatever it is, it could swallow both of us in one mouthful.
Jaws like an alligator, and a body like a tiger.
Get a shock rifle, Hap. I think it's going to charge.
Yes, sir. Here he comes. You hit him, sir.
Keep out of his way. I'll give another blast.
Wow. What a monster. And am I glad we brought that shock rifle.
Let's hope he doesn't have any relatives in the neighborhood. Let's get going, Happy.
Commander.
Yes, Hap.
How much farther do we have to go?
I think we're nearly out of the valley. I can get an occasional glimpse of the tower up on top of the peak. If we keep going, we can at least get to the base of the mountain before it really gets dark.
Yeah. Now, we can make it.
Oh, Hap, what's the matter?
Tripped over a vine.
Here, let me help you out.
If I could just rest for a minute, sir.
I know how you feel, Hap, but if we stop now, neither of us will have the energy to get going again.
Yes, sir. Hey, something's got my foot, sir. The vines. Hey, Commander, they're drawing tight, like ropes.
They're winding around me, too.
I can't get them untangled.
Maybe we can cut them loose.
Yeah. Commander, grab my arm. The vine is winding around my arm.
Half these vines are man-eaters.
So the harder I pull, the tighter they get.
You come through vines like this all afternoon. They never grabbed us. It's so dark now, I can't see to get you loose. Wait till I get my atomo light.
Commander, they're winding around you, too. Watch out for those leaves. They've got suckers on them.
We've got to work fast. Now, let's see how that vine has got you trapped.
It's relaxing now, too. It's loosening its hold.
I can see now. The leaves are shriveling up in the light. The light. That's what's doing it.
Hey, my legs are free.
These plants are active at night. The light makes them dormant. See, they're letting go of me now when I turn the light on.
Smoking rockets, that's right.
Use your atomo light, too, Hap. The beams will clear a path for us.
Hey, it works, sir. They're drawing back and going limp.
If we keep up this pace, we'll be out of the valley in an hour.
Hours later, at the Archetype Mine headquarters, Prince Baccarati is aroused from sleep by the persistent warning signal from the spaceophone receiver. Stumbling to the transmitter, he irritably turns it on, scowling at the still sleeping Captain Jecker.
This is Dr. Malengo.
Yes, Malengo, I know. What is it?
The warning tower near the mine, it's dead.
Dead? What do you mean, dead?
Something must have gone wrong. It's not sending out any signals. No, all clear, nothing.
What? How about the other tower?
Everything's all right with the towers on this side of the planet?
All right, Malengo. I'll send a crew over to check the trouble. The escaped prisoners.
I beg your pardon, Your Highness.
Those men that got away, they made it to the tower. And there's a spaceophone there.
But, Your Highness, it's not powerful enough to reach any of the United Planets.
I know that, but perhaps they don't know it. They'll keep sending messages. Jekyll and I can sneak up on them and grab them before they know what's happening. Jekyll, wake up. Get to your ship. We're blasting off for the warning tower. I found your escaped prisoner.
the base of the tall warning tower, Buzz and Happy looked down at the morning mist that swirled across the valley of dread. Occasionally, they glance up at the sky, peering expectantly for the Space Patrol ships they hope will soon be landing on Planet X.
Couldn't they be here by now, sir?
Very soon, Happy, if they heard our signal.
Maybe we ought to send it again, just in case.
No. By now, Baccarati must know that the tower's out of commission. He probably figures it's a mechanical failure. If he hears any strange signal, he'll know he can expect an attack.
Yeah, that's right. And our code signal was so brief that Prince's men couldn't have heard it unless they were waiting for it.
Yes, remember, our men were waiting for it. Weak as it was strong enough to reach the construction ship and the patrol squadron.
Yeah. Commander, I hear a spaceship. They're coming.
It's not a spaceship, Happy. It's an atmosphere ship. It's coming toward the tower, not the mining camp.
Hey, that's right.
Probably a repair crew sent by Baccarati. Keep back out of sight.
I just can't figure that out, Captain. Those prisoners made no attempt to contact the Space Patrol.
Well, maybe it was just a mechanical failure after all.
Perhaps. We'll be careful. The entrance to the tower is right around the corner.
All right, Happy. Your Highness, watch out.
Hold it, Baccarati. Get the other one, Hap. All right, stop struggling, Baccarati, or you'll have a mighty sore arm.
Stop it, Corey.
I've got the other one, Commander.
This isn't going to do you any good, Corey. You can't get off this planet without one of my ships, and my men can keep yours from landing.
Then they'd better get busy. Hear that, Baccarati?
Spaceship.
Right. A Space Patrol squadron. We're going to pick up those 130 men you've been holding prisoner out here.
My guards will never let you take them. Your Space Patrol men can't detect without endangering the prisoners.
He's right, sir. It's a risk we had to take, Happy. We counted on the suddenness of the attack to overcome resistance.
I got 6 men guarding that tent. Your attack isn't going to accomplish a thing, Corey.
Just to make sure, Baccarati, call the camp and order your men to surrender. Use this miniature spaceophone. Tell them you're captured.
All right, surrender.
Go ahead, Baccarati. It's on.
Prince Baccarati calling Arc-Type Mine Headquarters. Prince Baccarati to Arc-Type Mine Headquarters. Come in quickly.
Mine Headquarters. Go ahead, Your Highness.
Listen carefully. This is important. I have been captured by Commander Corey. Tell the rest of the guards to destroy all the prisoners immediately.
Give me that spaceophone.
Those are my terms, Corey. My freedom or those captives will be destroyed. Guard, do you hear that?
Yeah, I hear it, but I'm not a guard.
Then who are you? Answer me. Who are you?
Ed Benton, one of your ex-prisoners. You overpowered all your guards when we heard the Space Patrol ships.
Benton, this is Commander Corey. Nice work.
Thanks, Commander. Same to you.
You'll have all your men on the way home in a few minutes. Corey out. All right, Baccarati, let's go. Take charge of this tower, Happy.
Yes, sir.
Oh, you know, Baccarati, since you won't be needing your castle anymore, I've got an idea. Why don't you donate it as a home for wayward bats?
A preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure in just a moment. Say, Space Patrollers, listen to what happened the day Jimmy Brown skipped his power breakfast. Right away, things started looking mighty black. Everything in the universe went wrong. At school, at home, at play. And because Jimmy was so gloomy, Jimmy's dog felt gloomy, too. Yes, but listen now to what happened when Jimmy started his day with a big, bite-sized Chex breakfast. A bowl full of rice Chex. And to make up for the other day, a bowl of wheat Chex, too. Right away, things started looking bright. Yes, sir, Jimmy had a swell day at home, at school, at play. And listen to Jimmy's dog. He's no gloom dog now. So, you see, Space Patrollers, the way you start off in the morning can set the pace for the rest of your day. That's why it's so important to get a good power breakfast. That means a bowl full of those checkerboard super cereals, rice Chex, or wheat Chex. Delicious? You bet. Crisp down to the very last bite. And no other cereal, flaked or puffed, gives you so much nourishment in such concentrated bite-sized form. So, tomorrow and every morning, start off chock full of energy and ready for anything. Power up with the Space Patrol cereals, rice Chex, or wheat Chex. And now, a preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure. Buzz and Happy are bound securely in a robot ship headed toward Terra and controlled by Prince Baccarati from his castle on Planet X.
I can't move, sir. Even without that paralyzer ray, the straps would hold it. Keep struggling, Happy.
Pluto Defense Squadron 12, Space Patrol, to Private Cruiser NPC-307, Neptune Registry, acknowledge.
He's calling this ship?
We have information that Prince Baccarati is aboard. Surrender immediately.
I'm going to get loose and reach that space patrol.
Major Ryan to Baccarati. Acknowledge or we'll fire.
If we can only let him know that we're aboard.
Keep fighting, Hap.
Hey, they're firing at us.
Be sure to join us next week for the thrilling story, Escape from Planet X, when Wheat Chex, Rice Chex, and Good Hot Ralston again present Space Patrol! Space Patrol, created by Mike Moser, starring Ed Kemmer as Commander Corey and Glenn Osborne as Cadet Happy, was written by Lou Houston, produced and directed by Larry Robertson, executive producer Mike Devery. Other players were Ken Mayer, Bela Kovach, and Norman Jolly. Dick Tufeld speaking. Now, don't forget to tune in next Saturday and every Saturday when Wheat Chex, Rice Chex, and Good Hot Ralston again present Space Patrol! And be sure to see another exciting Space Patrol story on your local ABC television station. Consult your local paper for time and channel. This program is broadcast to our armed forces overseas through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Space Patrol came to you transcribed from Hollywood. This is ABC Radio Network.